Absolutely. I mean, to be honest, the teams are that close to each other. They're going to be able to hear each other with no crowd going in. You know, if we get some hype moments, we could even hear NIP when they were sort of bigging themselves up a little bit earlier on. We could hear it through the analysts on the desk. So you are going to be able to hear the players a little bit more, I think, so we can just get some nice shots of them there. Demo, what are your expectations coming into Coastline?
I think this is the big one for NIP. This is the map that they have to win. Second map is Clubhouse. I think that's BDS all day of the week. They need to win this map if they have any hope of winning this series. Of course, I think a lot of people expecting NIP to do very well, aggressive playstyle on a map like Coastline. But Holly, BDS, this is a map that they're no slouch on either.
It really is. BDS going to be starting off on the attack here as we do throw on into Coastline. Going to be getting the bans coming in through now. There's a bit of speculation on the desk, and there we go. There it is already. And Hap getting things right over there. Ash coming out as the first ban for NIP. Going straight for the target ban, Demo.
It's a bit strange though, Ollie. Obviously that's going to be for our good friend Shaiko.
Yep.
But he has not had the greatest of tournaments so far, and it is a bit of a shock.
I mean, it's not going to get any better, is it, if he's not got the Ash? Surely that could
Kick O'Malley's down. That's it. Yeah.
Thatcher coming in there as no surprise for the second ban. First ban from BDS. They're going to join it in. Is it going to be a Valkyrie? Is it going to be a Mirror? What are we going to be dealing with here? It's actually going to be the Wamai. So highlighted operator going to be getting removed here. I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Wamai, so much play, so valuable.
Mm-hmm. I'm expecting either a Mirror or Valk, and there's the Mirror. Okay, so Valkyrie's open, which is always a bit of a scary one on Coastline. A lot of strong cameras you can get. And of course, a very destructible map as well. You combo that with C4s and information. It's a recipe for disaster. But that's the bans, and now let's see how the teams will play it. BDS on the attack. I think attack is usually the side you want to start on. That is where it's mostly favored on Coastline. We've, I think, discussed very heavily with the lack of hard breach that you do not need to bring. You can easily get away without Habana, your Fermat, your Ace, all of that. You don't need it. It's just kills, Ollie. That's all it is.
It really is. It can be brought to make the job a little bit easier, and we see Brede, at least for the time being, going to lock in on that Habana. But it by no means is a requirement or a main focus in terms of how the round plays out. First site we're going to be going to here is going to be good old Hookah and Billiards. Psycho has been forced off the Wamai. That got banned away from him. Instead, going to be going on to the Valkyrie. I mean, I don't think he's going to argue. Valkyrie, so much value. Quite a high ban rate as well inside of SI21, so makes a lot of sense, really, for Psycho to be bringing that Valk. I'm just wondering, Demo, how much could this Wamai ban influence the game? Because what we've seen from NIP, not necessarily as much on Coastline, but I'm thinking toward other maps like Villa, where they're very good at holding a shield, placing 3 ADSs there, they'll play all the Wamai discs there, Psycho will play there, and that allows him to be very safe in that location. It's a really hard anchor position that they look to try and generate themselves. They're not going to be able to do that now.
Especially whenever we look to Clubhouse as well. I mean, that is Anchor City. We see so many holds being made very easy for a lot of defenders with Wamai, but quite rightly so. It being banned away. One thing that I think this is definitely going to force NIP is they're going to have to be a little bit more aggressive. With that Wamai ban, we're going to see a lot of projectiles from BDS, which I think we're seeing. We're seeing 2 sets of nades, we're seeing 2 sets of flashbangs. That's plenty of utility. And I think NIP, knowing that they're not going to be able to stop all of that, they need to go out and hunt them and try and eliminate that utility before it gets used.
It's a really smart ban from BDS on a lot of levels because Shaiko's going to play the Iana now, which is
he's good on that as
the
well.
Operator we've seen him play when Ash gets banned. And Shaiko discovered this little thing called frag grenades a couple of days ago. We saw it inside of the group stage.
Home runs.
Two frags, 2 kills in a couple of rounds that we saw that happen on. So by no means any sort of detriment there. We're going to see a nice little C4 toss come on through as Psycho. He's got a tough angle to try and get it through the slats in the floor. I think he's maybe just going to think better off it for the time being, but no, it did actually get placed. Maybe it got stuck and he wasn't able to retrieve it. Moose are going to be seeing some early damage as well. A lot of intel is being able to be gathered here on the Gemini.
Another one comes in now, and well, that's wasted C4s from NIP. There's the information being spotted out. And really for BDS, all they've took note of is, okay, there's one guy now, let's kill him, and then we're good to rush into the bomb site. And that might be something that they're open for. Right now, a lot of them stacked up towards the luggage area as well. They're definitely going to try and move in towards that aqua side, and continue their push. But for now, BDS, I think, still hunting for that first pick. And Ollie, this is where we're going to start to see the nades be utilized very, very heavily. I don't know if that was a missed nade from Renshiro or just checking that corner. Very pesky position for defender could play into. And Alems, there we go, right into the bomb site. He's eliminated the smoke and a nade as well. The projectiles are working for BDS.
BDS now going to try and get the plant down inside of Billiards. It looks as though he's not going to be challenged, as the crossfire here coming in from BDS is just a little bit too good. Rafal's going to find himself 2 huge kills as we now enter a 4 versus 2. Muzi, he didn't have a great deal of health. He's going to fall on the Cool Vibe stairs, and now it all comes down to Julio in the 1 versus 4. Likely going to get pushed here by BDS as he retreats and makes his way over on into Sunrise. Going to be a very difficult retake for him. He does find 1 down, but Rafal comes in with the final kill. 3 frags in that opening round there for Rafal. BDS, they take round number 1.
A very convincing round 1 as well, Ollie. You have to give credit to Alems. What he did with that initial play was everything for BDS. The information being gained by the Iana, spotting out, okay, there's 1 guy here, 1 guy there. Let's rush in. Let's take that engagement. And I think for Alems, he stepped up big time. If he had fallen off and he did not get that kill, I think NIP probably would have won that round.
Alem's had a hell of a series so far as well. He's a hell of an invitational. Renshiro as well, really coming in and providing some of those kills. So being able to bring that performance and that consistency through into the playoffs is vital.
I think the big thing with BDS that everyone has kind of said is everyone but Shaiko has kind of lived up to expectations. You know, obviously Shaiko, he has had a bad invitational, but it's not what we expected of him. It's not like the same Shaiko that we have seen previously. But I think that's a real credit to BDS. The fact that the other 4 have stepped up massively, a lot of them having the best tournaments of their life so far, that's a real credit to just how strong this team is. And that's, Ollie, why I think they're definitely the front runners to win this entire thing.
Well, they've started off well here inside of the playoffs now. They've managed to pick up round number 1. They're now going to look to try and make it 2 in a row. NIP looking for a little bit of something different here. It's going to take us downstairs to Sunrise and Blue Bar. Hooker and Billiards wasn't really working out all too well for them. I imagine this is just going to be a camera from Psycho, but maybe going to get caught out on a couple of drones. He gets a bit of, gets a couple of drones removed there and thinks better of it. Thinks, you know what, I'm going to save my cameras. They're just going to get taken out straight away. Pino, horrible angle there onto the drone hole. Always worth having a quick look, seeing if you get a few bit of chip damage. You never know.
Everyone's died to that, I'm sure, at one point in their life. So yeah, just trying to see what he can grab. Anything really. And NIP, Ollie, going into this matchup, I would say they are a very unpredictable team. I think if we look back at their group stage, the different strategies, the pocket strategies that they're able to pull out are terrifying to play against. They can completely switch their dynamic and their playstyle in an instant. Very, very difficult team to read on the day. And I think NIP, if they get themselves into that form where they're constantly mixing up strategies, it could really frazzle the brains of BDS. It
really could. That adaptation is something that we've seen drag them through quite a couple of games inside of the group stage. It typically comes out on the attack a little bit more so than the defense, but Alem's getting himself into an early engage here. That's 2 kills that have gone unresponded. NIP taking a nice advantage here, and Nade going to come in and do some damage onto Muzi, but looks as though he's just going to take his time and dip on out, recognizing they've been able to get 2 huge frags there. Rafal going down on the Nomad. That means that flanks are just going to be aplenty here, and Alem's falling as well.
And NIP, a very heavy roam team where we know they will bring as many operators as they need to assist them with that playstyle. But having those 2 massive kills in the beginning has definitely helped them. BDS a little bit stunned now. They're not entirely sure where they want to go. Renshiro, though, finds a nice kill. I think that's through the flooring behind the Sunrise barn. Yes, it is. But they still have the sledge, which I think is the crucial point for BDS. It allows them to use that soft destruction, open up these different angles on the Sunrise. And there's another kill. Shaiko has responded. And all of a sudden, Ollie, that lead that NIP had, it's disappeared now.
The kill that Renshiro gets there onto Kamikaze is absolutely massive, because now you don't need to worry about time. You've removed the smoke. You can now start to take your time and make sure that upstairs is open sufficiently. Get the sledgehammer out. Use that to open up a lot of the floor and really just start to pressure the defenders that are on site, because the ability now to burn 35, 40 seconds with Toxic Babe canister gas is no longer a thing. Pino looking to make a movement back on in, but BDS finds Psycho, shutting him down as well. After the first 2 kills not going in BDS's favor, they've responded quite nicely there, and they've got themselves into a favorable position. Julio's going to fall wall as well as Pino. He manages to find a kill over onto Bride. Essentially a 1 versus 2, but with the opportunity for Julio to be revived here. A swing comes out there, but Shaiko shuts him down.
BDS winning a 3 versus 5, something that should never happen in that scenario. NIP giving themselves away 1 by 1. Very, very surprised BDS have pulled up that round win. It just looked as if BDS were slowly moving their way around the entire building, challenging an angle and just winning the gunfight.
Didn't phase them that they lost the first 2 kills there. They really took a moment to think, right, okay, that's fine. Let's work with what we've got for a minute. And they were able to catch out a couple of the players on NIP through just aggressive rotation. Kamikaze in that position really shouldn't be dying there. He shouldn't be giving himself up to that angle. It's a very well-known angle, and when you've got such an incredible man count advantage, you can't afford to just be challenging things and looking to swing.
Why is Psycho thinking, okay, I'll take a little trip into the sauna? I don't know if he wants to steam, I don't know, but he should never be in that position. We know NIP are an aggressive team. They can play that playstyle, but whenever you have the man advantage, why would you go for it? You should only be playing an absolute crazy playstyle if you're up against it, if you're down the numbers advantage and you need to go out and get a kill, you need to make a big play. The play was made, Ollie.
Or at least go for the trade. You know, you got the man count advantage. If you're going to start peeking aggressively onto things, try and get a little bit of a trade going on into there. Nothing there had the potential to be traded. It wasn't a really flashy play from BDS where they were able to get 2 quick kills, or it was a nice 1 versus 2 engagement. Everyone was getting picked off piecemeal 1 at a time. That's not something that's going to give NIP any rounds here, as BDS have managed to pull 1 back.
All right, NIP actually looking to try and counter BDS. BDS very heavily in towards that bedroom side, in towards VIP. That's where they stagnated their push from. And now they're just going to set up to try and challenge BDS. They've put in reinforcements towards the bedroom. They set up some utility there as well, some players. Psycho actually opens up with the first kill. I think that's just him swinging on through the door out towards the hookah lounge balcony, and now decides to back away, and BDS again losing that first engagement. That's Shaiko, that's the nades gone, an important kill, and this is where NIP, this is what they needed to do, Ollie. Without that Wamai, they need to try and hunt those kills for those projectiles in the early game.
Psycho's going to be getting aggressive onto it here as well. Does get droned out there inside a hookah and decides to dip back just a vase. Lems is going to be underneath, though, holding him. So Psycho not really got the ability to move all too far here. Pino is going to be playing cool vibe stairs, so has a chance to maybe swing onto a Lems. But as the pressure increases here on Psycho, he's in a bit of a do-or-die situation. Going to make the rotation and try and get himself back into hooker and look to challenge from a different angle. But no, Kamikaze! He goes for a careless swing on the big window and gets shut down by Rafal. Julio comes in with a trade, and Nade will likely see Psycho finished off there. Pino is left to retreat. Still playing on the cool vibe stairs. Not a great position here for either team really to be in. That's going to make it a better one for BDS, though, as a Lem swings in onto Muzi, picking up that all-important frag. Still a 2 versus 2. Renshiro down, but not out. NIP don't really have any site control here. Sorry, they do have site control, but they don't really have any sort of positional advantage. There's still quite a lot of time left for BDS to execute.
All 3 of the BDS players are stacked up outside of the one doorway as well. I think Renshiro is going to bleed out. No, Pino will finish him off. They had that information that they did down Renshiro, but Bride with a massive kill onto Pino. And now Julio inside of the 1 versus 2, named as the Rock, according to the analyst desk. Can he hold that? Can he hold that title? Let's see now. BDS taking their time. Julio thinking about where he wants to swing. He sees one move in, and there's the first kill. 1 more to find, though. Lems has to try and find it. Yes, he will. The wall buying rings true for BDS. 3-0, Ollie. They lead.
2 massive clutch rounds there for BDS as well. I mean, a couple of those you would expect to go into NIP's favor. Even that last round wasn't beyond winnable. The diffuser was cold on the ground. It came down to a 1 versus 1 gunfight. It isn't a repeatable strategy. I think quite rightly there we have seen the first time out. NIP, they need a moment to collect themselves.
Yep.
Inside of the group stage, we regularly saw early timeouts. I think we saw them as early as at the end of round 2. And that's just how tight these games can be sometimes.
So there was one moment that we just seen on the double window, which I think was a very important bit of information to kind of acknowledge about NIP and their playstyle. they're willing to sacrifice each other to get kills, which I think is an okay strategy, but why is it the smoke? Out of all the operators, why is it the one that is the most crucial for this certain bomb site? That's a very bottleneck kind of site that you have to hold, and it's very difficult to attack into. We see usually, two ways of attacking it, either in through the hookah door or the double door by aquarium. That's the only two that we see. So it's a little bit strange to see them sacrifice a very, very dependent operator for that bomb site in favor just for one single kill. I don't really understand it.
Well, the timeout is still continuing. We can see that the players are heavily discussing between themselves how they want to try and change things up here. A site we've not seen yet is going to be kitchen and service. Now, I can see on the screen that that is the site that was locked in prior to this TAC timeout. Maybe NIP looking to go here, bring something a little bit different, and then take us back upstairs to Hooker and Billiards, or back downstairs to Blue Bar and Sunrise. Typically, you'll see teams that want to try and fix a problem inside of that timeout and come up with some of that small adaptation. And it is something that we've praised NIP for in the past, is their ability to very quickly come up with counter strategy, very quickly come up with these pocket strats, as we like to call them. It isn't necessarily something that is very well rehearsed. It's not always something that's been scrimmed. It's just something that a team of very coordinated players can bring out on the day, and it can often be a difference maker.
Well, like we've mentioned, Ollie, this is a map that NIP need to win. Clubhouse is up next, and that is definitely favored for BDS. They need to win this first map. I think right now, in terms of the big difference, in terms of how this game's going, I think whenever we get to those kind of lull moments, because it happens in every round, where you see trades happen in the early game, and then it's kind of a bit of a standstill for like a minute. The big difference is, in that minute, BDS are getting themselves into great positions to pick up these kills, and that is the real game changer. We've seen Renshiro have a lot of those kills where it's nothing's happened, all of a sudden, bang, Renshiro on the scoreboard, favor to BDS. It's those mid-round moments that BDS are dominating.
Because the opening picks come 2 rounds in a row for NIP. They've been able to get 2 opening picks in 2 consecutive rounds. I think they even got 2 inside of round number 2. And they've still not been able to close out the round. They've still not been able to use that man count advantage and really, you know, put the pressure back onto BDS. A lot of it has come down to not kind of, I hate using the word careless swings, but there's been a lot of challenges that, you know, maybe didn't really need to happen.
It's not needed for those kind of swings to be coming in. Like I mentioned about the smoke, that should not happen. You do not need to do that. But we'll see how NIP, after their timeout, can they respond with a round win and make this an actual matchup that we can see go the full distance in Coastline? Because right now, Ollie, it's looking BDS all over the walls, the writing's on the walls, and it says BDS. Right, let's see where BDS want to set up their attack. Seems to be pretty standard into Sunrise, into Blue Bar, and Kitchen will be the site that will be pressured. NIP, though, they set up for that. A lot of wall denial being opened up. You can see the entire quad wall being shot out. It gives you those long-range gunfights that you can hold and stop anyone rushing in from. And as you can see, Shaiko having a bit of a trouble with that. Muzi with the 1.5 times is able to make that kill. And once again, NIP, they have that lead.
Second round in a row for Shaiko to be first blood as well. So NIP really doing a number to search out for that opening engagement and win it. You know, it's not always a situation where there's 2 people pushing the one player. They're really doing a good job of winning that first head-to-head gunfight, but not able to get it over the line. Now, this could be a little bit of a different circumstance. Muzi's actually found himself a second, but Brede, he's got himself all the way on into the site. He's just strolled on into Kitchen, and he's going to start to confirm that plan. Psycho goes for a rotation, Lems shuts him down. We're now in a post plan. Sure, it's a 3 versus 4, but the kills keep coming in here for BDS as it all levels up with Rafal taking down Muzi. Julio now has to do something about this, and again, despite a good early round from NIP, they're looking pretty lackluster in the here and now. Lems with the cross manages to take down Kamikaze, finds himself a second, Lems is going to get them all, picks up 3 kills.
Wow. I do not know how BDS are losing these opening engagements. It's looking grim for them, and all of a sudden, bang, they win the round. I cannot, like, I don't even know how to put it in words, Ollie. You cannot respect how NIP have set that up, because that has been very poor. They've opened up that quad wall to stop that from happening, yet it's happened.
Nobody playing inside of luggage. The vertical control that was there was just being held from Blue Bar. This angle, I mean, Alem's got 3 kills. He barely moved his feet. He was behind Blue Bar pretty much for the entirety of it. Look at all the information he's got as well. He's got a ping on every single player there. The drone setup. Sure, we talk about Shaiko dying out early, but if he's the one that's on the cameras, he's contributing massively there in terms of winning out the round. They had information on every single player there.
There's no excuse for NIP. No excuse. That should be a round that they win 9 times out of 10. 100% they win that. But no, they just let the guy run a 100-meter sprint into kitchen.
Got to respect your planter. You got to respect your planter. You got to respect
Bride. No fear. No fear.
You've got to respect him for getting in. And LM's has gone, yep, I'll cover you. And Bria's gone, I believe you. No worries. I'm going to hop myself in.
It's like BDS know, okay, this is our only chance. It is a very slim margin that this will work, but we have to try our odds. And it's working for them. They're playing the roulette wheel, Ollie, and it's coming up their number every single time.
You know, when they've got this much of an advantage, why not? There's no reason why they can't. They've got 4 rounds in a row here. They're probably looking to make it 5 hell. They're probably looking even to make it 6. Again.
Dare I say 7?
Quite possibly. You know, we're seeing some early aggression here from Muzi. He did get caught out on the drone there. The information from eDemo is something that BDS have been really capitalizing on.
Drone work always has been proficient for BDS. That's why coming into this competition, they were one of the strongest all-round teams. You know, in every single area that you look at in terms of what makes a good professional team, BDS ticks all of those boxes. NIP, give us 1 round. Come on, something to fight for, NIP. Let's have you. Oh, that's what we want to see. Finally, NIP realized that, hey, Renshira's been causing us some issues on that window. Let's try and take him out. And they did just that. NIP with, once again, the opening pick. But I don't know how much weight that holds in this game.
I mean, they've had the opening pick in, what, 3 rounds in a row? Is it 3 rounds in a row now?
Yeah.
Maybe 4.
Yeah, I think 3 out of 4
I feel like they're just constantly getting this opening pick, and it really isn't doing them many favors. This time they take somebody else down. They take Renshiro down. Sure, it's going to be still 2 frag grenades that have been removed. Typically, it's been Shaiko that's been getting himself into that early engagement, but the opening kill in this round has come much later on. Muzi's going to be missing his shots there over onto Rafal. Instead, decides to get his chips and dip as he looks maybe to drop down into main atrium. Psycho going to be upstairs and maybe able to pick up some of these pieces.
Psycho, this is the aggression that we want to see, and Alliance is gone. NIP have got they've got everything going for them right now, Ollie. NIP were hunting for those early kills to eliminate the utility, and they have done just that. BDS, the old 1-2 punch from Psycho has worked a charm. And BDS now in a dire position, and the swings just keep on coming. NIP are sick of being dominated by BDS, and they want to get themselves around, and they'll get that. Finally, the Brazilians wake up on Coastline.
Well, it took an opening kill, and then another, and then a double kill, and then finally the round was done. Almost a flawless there from NIP. They desperately needed that. I don't think we can stress that enough. Sure, this is a best of 3, and there is more than just Coastline to be looking at here. But BDS have been on a winning streak, managing to take the first 4 rounds. And let's be honest, they weren't 4 clear-cut rounds. There was a couple of chances there that, you know, rounds could have gone the favour of NIP, and I think they probably feel a little bit upset and hard done to that they didn't.
Yeah.
Now they've been able to gain a round. Now they've been able to just shift that momentum ever so slightly. They're going to be going downstairs to kitchen and service. Previously, we saw Bride just Terminator style, run himself on into site and think, I don't want to do anything but worry about planting this diffuser.
If NIP had won the rounds that they should have, it would probably be 3-2 the NIP right now. I would say that pretty convincingly. And I think there was 2 rounds. It was the 5 versus 3 that they had on their Sunrise and Blue Bar defense that they just gave their picks. And then obviously the last kitchen round where that should never have happened. Hopefully this time they will set up appropriately for that. And one thing as well that BDS never really had any interest in was the top floor. Equally, NIP had no interest in holding the top floor. There was hardly anything set up inside of VIP. There was no holes that you could play above, which would probably have stopped everything that had happened. I think now if NIP realize that, hey, BDS, they only attack from one side of the map, we can utilize the rest of the map to our advantage. Like we've talked about the rotations in Coastline, it's a very heavy roamer map. That's going to favor NIP.
Absolutely, and we saw just exactly what that's going to be able to do for a player like Pino, for a player like Psycho that will get themselves out there on their own. Even Muzi is taking advantage of that as well. So if NIP are able to start chaining a couple of rounds together here, we could see them with a bit of a comeback here on Coastline. For the time being, this is going to be the last round before the side switch, so BDS may be looking to capitalize on that and utilize the fact that Coastline can be seen as attacker-sided. I think with the bans, the way that they've come through, the attacker bans, they sometimes have some of an influence over onto Coastline, but it's very seldom. It's not like you're going to be removing the Maverick or the Hibana or something really crucial in terms of hard breach. You're usually a little bit freer over on the attack, and that's why it does tend to lean in that direction. Lems, I think he's got a drone inside of office, and he's just trying to bait Pino out right now.
Yeah, Pino, of course, on that dock as well. 1.5 times is great to have, and Psycho again inside of luggage. Can he find any kills? One has to come his way, and yes it will. Rafale is gone, Lion off the board. And Shiro isn't really phased by, still just sledging away. He's only focused on trying to eliminate Pino right now. He isn't worried about what's happening around him.
Pino just got a glimpse there of a Lems. It's going to be enough to force him back as he feels like the pressure's likely coming in vertically, and hell, he's already wasted half of the round. Alem still hasn't made it on inside. Shaiko now going to start pushing himself down at Cool Vibe stairs. He's got drone information to work from. Does he know of the player inside a kitchen? Ooh, just a little shoulder going to give the game away there from Kamikaze, but he does make a successful rotation. Alems has been allowed to walk all the way on through, gets himself into blue bar and takes down Kamikaze. Pino now left wanting. He's going to desperately pre-fire it through the wall, but a C4 from Julio is going to hit as Renshiro will fall.
Pino as well finds Shaiko, and now a 2 versus 4 that BDS have to pull out is Bride and Alems. Alems inside of blue bar has a yellow ping. Oh, you see the head, there he is, there's the Mozzie, and Alems will find that kill. Another swing as well coming in from Muzi on the warden, but decides to back away. BDS, it's a 2 versus 3, definitely still in reach of a potential round win for them. But right now, I think NIP, the clear favourites going into the final 30 seconds.
Little pocket Valkyrie camera there coming out from Psycho. Things you love to see in the final 40 seconds. Gathering himself a slight bit more information. Alems likely going to have to just push on through, maybe meet his end. Pino going to be holding the long angle, shuts him down with the headshot from way down inside of lobby. Bride, he's in a tough spot. He's 1 versus 3 and there are only 15 seconds remaining. He's got multiple angles to check. Crossfires are being established. We can see the players on the side of NIP all buddying up there. It's going to be Psycho to find the last kill. NIP with 2 rounds in a row to close out their defensive phase.
NIP needed those 2 rounds. Ollie definitely needed to have something to fight for, as they will now have that side switch over to the attacking half. One thing I have to question again from NIP, Ollie, is Kamikaze's on the smoke, and he's getting picked off first. He's trying to play like a roamer. You smoke as a roamer. I don't know why he's trying to force that just time and time again. He is very fortunate that we had some big players step up on NIP that round, because if BDS were able to maybe have the advantage going into that final 30 seconds, not having that smoke definitely would have costed his team.
Now we see the sides switch. BDS, they take their turn on the defense. Is this going to be the change of fortune that is required? A 4-2 half isn't that bad, Demo. I think we need to bring it back a little bit now, because BDS were running away with it at a time, and it really genuinely looked as though we could have seen 6 clean attacking rounds there from BDS. The timeout from NIP, I think that worked when they then started to go back downstairs into kitchen. They then come out and they're able to win that round. They've been able to make adaptations and changes there. A 4-2 split on Coastline starts to look okay. It's not the worst thing that has ever happened. Now NIP have to continue off the back of that. They have to come out strong and level this up to a 4-3. Then things start to look really competitive.
NIP bringing the exact same attacking lineup that BDS brought as well. No differences in their operator selection. One thing I do worry though for BDS is they have not brought the Jaeger. A severe lack of projectile denial. Well, I mean, they do have the Renegades, which is, of course, still a form, but not as strong as you would compare to an ADS. NIP, again, since they're bringing the exact same lineup as BDS, we know there's going to be plenty of projectiles to be used. You have 2 sets of nades, you have 2 sets of flashbangs. Oh, Pino, a very aggressive standpoint, jumping straight in towards Kitchen Ollie. NIP now on the attack, just like they were in the defense, looking for this opening pick.
It's that fearlessness as well, you know, they know that all of these rounds leading up are very crucial here. But Pino happy to drone something once, and off the back of that, get himself on in. We can see a drone working ahead of Muzi here. Will it spot the player behind the desk? Yes, it will, but Shaiko's going to be better in that regard. Muzi does get shut down. Pino's going to try and challenge this as well, maybe thinking about tossing a nade on in. Shaiko will get caught out there as the trade comes in from Pino.
Yeah, tried the second peek as well, but no. NIP ready for that one. So there's going to be a 4 versus 4. Iana gone, which is nades, and of course the infinite dronage that you can get as well with that operator is always going to be great for attackers, but BDS have dealt with that. Still a bit of pressure, I suppose, they can apply with Lems on the Mozzie. NIP all wrapping around towards the hookah. So they're not going to go for Aquarium. They're going to go for the hookah lounge take, which is a little bit more riskier. I think 1C4 from below can upset everything you try and accomplish. I think NIP, before they try and attempt this, they need to try and have Sunrise under control. It looks as if they have that now with Psycho rotating in through Sauna, and he is going to be playing below, being stationed to try and assist anyone who may need some help vertically. Julio has actually wrapped over to the double window. He can do this safely because, like I said, they have Sunrise control. He doesn't have to worry about the single window. And NIP, I mean, it's a little bit slow from the Molly, and it's one thing that you've always highlighted. NIP, just a little bit too slow sometimes.
Notoriously slow, I would go as far as to say, on the attack, and it is often something that really catches them out. We see we're into the 50-second mark now. They are at a man deficit, so they've not been able to maybe gain as much control as they would like, but still we see players moving quite slowly toward that objective, and you just can't afford to do that as an attacker. The push is going to have to come in eventually. Kamikaze going to burn the Surrogate there and just hold the cross. Psycho has rotated. He's going to be looking to try and apply some pressure as we have a bit of a three-pronged attack here from NIP with Julio. Upside down repel on the big window. Not sure if he got a glimpse of somebody there, or maybe it was his teammate, but he's going to still continue to hold on to this angle as Psycho will burn the laser gate, gets himself on in. Maybe he's going to go for a plant up on the desk. The kills are going to have to come through first, though, and Alems grabs himself too. Kamikaze pushes on in desperately, but he's only got 3 seconds left. Brede, he's going to lock away that last kill. BDS, take that round.
Too slow from NIP. For about a minute, they just sat outside, held angles, didn't know what to go for, and it was a last-ditch attempt of going for an Aqua. Just does not work. They don't have any map presence. There is no control at all on BDS, and they've cost it for it. 5 versus 2 now. BDS winning that first defensive round, and Ollie, this is a map that you need to win your attacks on. It is supposed to be attacker-sided. If NIP are struggling with time management, especially on a map which I don't think you need too much time management, because the pushes can be set up fairly quickly, because it is a fairly small map, I worry for them.
I think I would have really liked to see in that last round everybody pushing from one side. Keep Julio on the upside down repel, but maybe put 2 players in through Aquarium. And just have that ability to be able to get a trade-off, because Kamikaze just got left out in the cold there, and there's no way that you're going to then be able to get the plant down in that situation. If he's able to get the plant down, then all of a sudden we've got Julio on the upside down repel, we've got Pino pushing on in as well, Psycho pushing on in as well on the Zafir, and things start to look a little bit better there. You start thinking, yeah, you know what, we might get the diffuser down here, and we might actually be able to hold it in the post plant from things like the repel and outside. So NIP, they can afford to lose 2 attacking rounds here. A 4-2 split would take us to that magical overtime. But BDS, they're looking pretty hot. And let's be honest, Alems, hard carry so far. 11-4.
It's the tournament of his life. 100%. In 3 group stages as well. The guy was an animal. NIP have chosen an operator that whenever I see NIP pick it, I think they're panicking. And that is going to be the Monty. We've seen the Monty, most notably against Oxygen, whenever they played them inside of the group stage. And they were very much backs up against the wall. The strategies that they tried to put in beforehand did not work. And they solely just tried to play off information that they gathered themselves and just try and get kills. That was the only idea that NIP had. Now they're going to try and do that against BDS.
Now, Julio on the Monty, as you say, is it a desperate measure? Is it something that they look to try and adapt into and just use that human drone information? We've seen them do it previously. We've seen them do it a lot of times. You know, Julio is a famed Monty player, very proficient. Is it a case where NIP just need to try and get these rounds through, and that is the best way that they know of doing it? They're bringing that shield and they're just saying, look, I'm going to make those calls. I'm going to be able to find out where everyone is. I'm going to provide the yellow pings. Everyone else, you just need to get your kills. You just need to win your ones.
I think this operator pick, it really enforces the idea of we're relying very heavily on our Pino and our Muzi. Feeding that information to these two young gunners who have really taken this team by storm. Ever since they joined it last year, they have been an undying threat for every team. You cannot stop these two. And with that Monty, feeding that information, these two will have a field day with that.
C4 there from Renshiro, not going to land. There are players in upstairs. Pino going to be cooking a frag and just looking to get it down to the bottom of the Cool Vibe stairs. There's angles to work with here. Julio maybe going to try and push his way on into office. Backed by Kamikaze. Pino's still trying to find out these vertical angles. You can see he's constantly worried and concerned about the threat of a C4 though. Malusi Banshee is going to slow Julio down ever so slightly. Going to be some utility in here as well, but nobody playing behind that deployable shield.
50 seconds and there is still a smoke, a C4, and also echo drones to go through. NIP again on their time management has not been good, but that nade is immaculate and will finish off. No, actually doesn't finish off. Bride, I'm surprised by that. The smoke is still alive, and Julio, Rafal, what was he up to? He just gives Julio the 3th kill of the tournament, and yeah, BDS now in a very poor position. Thankfully, Bride is alive now, but what on earth was Rafal doing inside of security?
Opening kill for a Monty. Not often that you get to see that. Psycho going to make it too as he finds a kill over onto Shaiko. Smoke canisters coming in now as Julio finds himself a second, shutting down Alems. Is he going to go and grab the third? Renshiro does take down Psycho in the meantime, but Kamikaze has flooded on into sight. It's all now down to Renshiro, and in classic NIP fashion, they're planting with 2 seconds left. That is, of course, going to extend the timer, and Kamikaze will secure that plant. Renshiro in a tough old spot now as he's got to do the unthinkable. He has to retake Muzi. He's going to be the first to grab that kill. A tough old spot for Renshiro to be in. Questions have to be asked there of the defense on the side of BDS. Julio coming in with, what, 2 kills? Nuts.
The echo. Why? What?
Repositioning the drone.
I don't know why you'd be doing that whenever you know they're in the other room right beside you. It's very, very strange. I don't know if it was lack of communication, potentially. Maybe BDS didn't let them know, oh, hey, there's guys pushing you, by the way. You might not want to be in your drone, but it is what it is. It's happened.
It's the Monty effect. It really is. Teams panic when NIP choose Monty, and I don't know what happens, but we just see an entirely different NIP as soon as Julio picks Monty. It is the Monty effect.
One thing that you highlighted was the information game from BDS was much stronger than NIP. What is Monty? An information operator. That could be the big decider.
It flips the switch on that, doesn't it? It says, you know, sure, we've got 10 drones, you had 10 drones, you were able to place them in really good positions.
We've got a walking drone.
But now we're going to bring a walking drone that, guess what, has a shield. You're not going to be able to shoot him all too easily. You're going to have to take your chance if you want to try and take him down. And Julio able to gather enough information there. This time, he's changed things up. He's going to have picked over onto the Cali. I'd maybe like to have seen, you know, the Monty stuck with there. I think you see NIP bringing Monty and you think, you know what, this is something that they're going to want to try and take advantage of.
But one thing the BDS have actually brought is going to be the Legion, which I think is probably the biggest reason why we're not seeing that. I mean, if you know that you've played the Monty and you're expecting a team to then counter-strat that, I mean, I think Legion, in terms of Europe anyway, is an operator that we do see quite frequently. In terms of other regions, not that much. Legion isn't really the biggest operator that we see with a pick rate. But I think whenever you know a team is favorable of Monty, hard counter is going to be the Legion. I mean, Legion is the most annoying thing to deal with if you are a Monty.
Yeah, you're going to default into that trap meta, aren't you? Yeah. And you're going to choose things that are going to try and make that Monty's life difficult. We see Malusi be brought pretty much every round from BDS anyway, so the Banshees, they're not too much of a surprise. They're unknown. But like you say, Shaiko on that Legion with the goo mines. I guess the big question is, Demo, how long can he stay alive? Because this game hasn't been his finest hour so far, regularly getting caught out as that first blood. And of course, everyone knows that those goo mines generate rate over time. If you step on them, you're going to be slowed, you're going to take some damage, and you're going to have to pull them out.
Shaiko does know that Jaeger isn't banned. He does know that, yeah? He probably thought, oh, they've banned the Ashe. Oh, they'll probably just ban the Jaeger away from me as well. He does know that, yeah?
Do we need a Tannoy announcement?
Might be. Run over there, Ollie, and let him know.
I think BDS might need a Tannoy announcement because they've not actually brought Jaeger.
Yeah, again, severe lack of Jaeger, which is a worry. With the projectiles that we've kind of talked about, I think the nades have also been pretty good for NIP. Another opening pick. Shaiko gone again. Ollie, you said how long can he stay alive for? About just half the round, that was it.
2 goo mines, that's all that's going to be out there. It's almost a shame that NIP didn't bring the Monty there, as they wouldn't have really been impeded all too much by it. Lems, is he going to look for a little bit of aggression here? Just playing at the halfway point nearly of the Cool Vibes stairs. Still has the ability to rotate on down. Does BDS seem like they're just waiting for a bit more of an inclination as to where this push is going to be coming from? Lems seems to be searching, and he's going to get caught out. He's going to lose a good chunk of his health there and likely be pushed a little bit more.
Oh, another nade as well. Lems is still alive. He's not giving Kitchen up too easily to NIP. Here comes the Gemini for more information. And Psycho in a great position also to try and swing on and eliminate as many bodies as he can. Lems actually rotated over towards the other side of the kitchen, but is not ready. Julio on the Kali, making it work for him. And all of a sudden, NIP have full map control. Psycho finds one, and the last man standing is going to be Rafal inside of Office. He is sanctioned off from everything that he wants to try and hold down. Diffuser being planted, and well, this is about 50 different crossfires being held, and he falls. NIP, a flawless round.
A flawless round, the diffuser going down at about the 25-second mark as well. An entirely different NIP to what we have seen so far throughout this game. They are getting better and better here on the attacks on Coastline. And all of a sudden, we've got a bit of a game on our hands. A 5-4 scoreline. It's looking like 4-2 halves might be the order of the day here on Coastline. BDS struggling now, struggling to get these trades.
Yep.
You know, we've seen them winning pretty much every gunfight they got themselves into in the first handful of rounds, aside from the opening picks. Now NIP, they're continuing to get those opening picks, and more importantly, they're making BDS pay for it.
NIP, flawless round, then that will give them so much confidence. A flawless round in a team environment is everything, because you know everyone played their part to perfection. Brazilian sides with momentum, Ollie, are terrifying. Absolutely terrifying to play against. We've seen so many times the Brazilian team has a bit of momentum and bang, you're G2 and you've lost 8-6.
Yeah. NIP are a tournament team. We keep saying this about them. You know, they didn't have the greatest of seasons inside of the BR6. They really struggled to get inside of the Copa Elite. And we've seen them come out here inside of SI and they've made it into the upper bracket. And they continually surprise us. They never make it easy for themselves or us as viewers to watch. It's always really difficult. It's always really back and forth, and they leave it very late. It's very similar to the way they execute their attacking rounds. They like to leave things late, but they are a tournament team, and they step up on the day.
The expectations for NIP weren't very high. A very mediocre start to 2021 inside of BR6 and Copa Elite 6, like you said. They come to Invite. They have not had an easy run. They've had very tough games. I think they've made games tough for themselves as well, but they still managed to pull out these scrappy victories. Lems finally gets the first pick, and BDS have that advantage, but Ollie, NIP, no matter how it happens or how badly they lose rounds, as long as they win, that's all that matters. A win is a win in their books. Doesn't matter how clean it was, doesn't matter how scrappy it was, as long as they can say, yeah, we got that.
That's the first time in a long time that we've seen BDS actually get the opening pick this time. No real surprise that it's a Lems that's going to be getting that, as he's currently going double positive. Really, really standing out there for his squad. Going to take down Psycho. Psycho's really stepped it up over the last couple of rounds on attack. You lose out on that Zafir, and with Ashe banned, it puts a lot more pressure on Zafir's lifeline. Puts more pressure on the grenades as well, but the lifeline is just that really nice way of dealing with utility.
NIP have focused very heavily on their nade gameplay. We have seen that cause issues for Team BDS. And we're still not seeing the Jaeger pick. I'm still baffled that we are not seeing this operator chosen. Another nade gets tossed in. I wouldn't be surprised if we see another nade kill. I think it probably will happen inside this round. I just think BDS missing the mark, not bringing the denial, and it has costed them. Thankfully, though, this round, which is a little bit different, is, like you said, they've kind of disabled the lifeline. Very strong, very powerful. Being able to open up those holes, and oh, Pino just slips in. Shaiko not aware. LMs are still below as well. But yeah, NIP losing a bit of utility. It's got a little bit of pressure on them.
Really is. You can see LM scurrying himself through blue bar there as he tries to get himself back to some sort of safety. Muzi going to come downstairs and try and join in on this roam clear, but I believe the job has largely been done. As we can see, all four players, for the side of BDS. They're going to be occupying Hooker and Billiards, Vars, and Cool Vibe stairs. So entire map control really for NIP here. And they've got plenty of time to try and work with. They've got 40 seconds on the clock. They can now start to try and bait out some of this utility, and they're going to need to. There is still a C4 in the hands of LMs. There's still 3 Toxic Babe canisters in the hands of Brede.
3 nades as well, which I think NIP will start to utilize and find positions that they can get themselves set up for. Kamikaze will just go for the flashbang, checking for any potential ADS. Of course, they don't know. And oh, that's going to be a miss nade, though, I believe. And yes, Brede is still alive and well, going to smoke out, try and stop that push in towards Aquarium. The Lion Charge goes off, and here we go. The fun begins. A C4 out of nowhere, but somehow gets shot mid-air. Kamikaze on his belly, crawling his way through the bomb site. Brede, another kill, and oh, Julio gets shot down. Kamikaze all by himself, but the time is up. BDS, hold on for one more round.
5 more seconds. 5 more seconds there, and NIP would have had a much better chance. The slew of utility that was thrown at them there by BDS was enough in the end for BDS to confirm that round. It puts them onto a match point here inside of this best of 3. Can they convert? We've said 4-2 rounds, 4-2 splits look like the order of the day here on Coastline. That is where we now sit in terms of the rounds gained from BDS. They came out of their first phase at 4-2. They've picked up 2 rounds. We now need to see NIP take the next 2, take us to that OT.
Oh, that's a massive kill for Brede. 2 massive kills as well. Of course, we didn't get to see his perspective, but since we are on LAN Ollie, we're able to find every single perspective, which is a great addition, of course. We see the replays, we see what we missed out. One thing that I would add that I think was severely lacking from NIP that probably would have put all of that to bed if they had one person on the hookah window. That would have killed the Mozzie behind the reinforcement. That's always going to be an issue because it's a 50-50. He could peek left, he could peek right. And it's a bit of mind games for NIP. If they had one player stationed on that window, eliminate him, the bomb site would have been freed up.
It all comes back down to BDS getting the opening pick.
Because they don't have that man advantage yet, 100%. Yeah.
BDS get the opening pick, Lems is able to find that first frag, and all of a sudden the round looks entirely different from that point out. 1 more person, 10 more seconds. It was a small margin there for NIP to lose that round. Lems, he might have heard you, Demo. He's gone for the Jaeger.
Finally
picking the Jaeger.
I think they've realized that, yeah, these nades are a bit annoying. Let's try and stop them as much as we can. A couple of operator change-ups as well, even Renshiro on the Pulse. That's always a funky one to see on Coastline, but hey, makes sense. Destructibility factor is always going to be a big thing. Julio, out comes the Monty once again.
Desperate times, desperate measures for NIP.
He's by himself.
Julio's hunting. He's recognizing that somebody's maybe inside of Sunrise. He's waiting for the door to be open. Then he can just push on through. It's going to immediately put the pressure onto Brede, and he's actually going to give it up.
It's a scary thing, isn't it?
I mean, as the mute, I would have thought he would have played there for a little bit longer. You know, it's not like you're playing on the smoke. You could try and waste a little bit of time there, but he's instead going to give that entire control away over to NIP.
Yeah, Julio, look at the confidence. This is just what the Monty brings. Immediate control of Sunrise has been gained. BDS have went for an upstairs hold, and I don't know if NIP actually want to challenge that. It would be a little bit difficult without the Monty in a great position. Instead, they've decided to use the Monty for their Sunrise setup. Pino has a nice angle onto that default rotation as well. If anyone tries to go in towards the kitchen, they will be cut down. Hops on a drone, and Julio going to try and burn up any potential ADSs, and as we see, there is none, so that's going to be the smoke grenades popped in, and oh, a quick single window! Kitchen jump-in has occurred, but no, Brede is there to shut it all down. Julio walking straight in as fast as he can, and he's going to run right past him. He's toying with him. Julio, oh, the hip-fire pistol onto the head. Julio eats a C4 as well. Shaiko still trying to hold down the fort, but it's going to be advantage into NIP. There's a nade kill. They brought the Jaeger, and it still doesn't matter. Alam's in a 1 versus 2, up against the Monty, up against Pino. Pino now picks up the diffuser. All he has to do is stick the plant. Julio, chase him, feed the information, find Alam's, try and stop him, and there's the information. Pino gets off it, and NIP are still fighting for this win.
NIP throwing everything at that round. Julio on the Monty. Fearless. Headshot. Hip-fire pistol kill.
What an up.
What more can you ask for? NIP pulling it out of the bag again when it matters. They've got to do it one more time, Demo. They've got to do it once more to confirm and take us to that OT.
They have to bring Monty again. They have to. They have a 100% win rate with that operator. It has caused BDS massive issues. But yeah, I don't know. BDS just struggling to really come to grips. I think there was a little bit of confusion. You see a Monty push in so deep. They did really well for finding the first kill onto the Sophia who jumped in the window. And I thought, oh, that's pretty poor from NIP. But no, Julio, that hip fire, that kill changed everything.
And it all comes down to how quickly Brede gave up control of Sunrise. We commented on it at the time. Julio pushed through Sauna and was just like,
they're scared.
You might be in Sunrise, buddy, but I quite like this place, and I think I'm going to stay. And I think that you're now going to leave. And Brede goes, you know what, you're probably right. And he goes and pushes his way all the way on back.
So they've sacked off the Jaeger. I mean, another nade kill happened even with the Jaeger, so it's just meant to be. We're supposed to die to nades this game, and they brought the Legion. So again, Monty being brought, BDS, immediate response, bringing this operator.
I think that with the coordination from a team like NIP, you can bring the Jaeger and it doesn't have that much of an impact because you have just got so much flashbangs, lifelines, you've got frag grenades. You know, you bring in 4 frags, you can afford to use one if you have to burn an ADS. It really is one of those things where you're coming up against a team with this much coordination and the Jaeger just gets devalued in that process. So it's probably a good read from BDS. You know, they've recognized, you know what, there's other things we can be bringing here.
And one thing with BDS I think they've kind of lacked on their defensive half is the information. You know, Valkyrie's up. I haven't really seen Valkyrie from them. They've decided to go with an Echo pick. Last time they had Echo against the Monty. It was a fun one. Bit questionable from BDS. Alams this time is going to be on the Echo, so we do see some operator changes also in terms of who's playing what. And like you said, you like this position, you like Brede inside of Sunrise, just holding it down as easy as he likes. Has the C4 that could maybe help him as well.
He's got a bit more this time. He's got the Yokai drone in there. You can see it just on the ceiling. Yeah. It's going to get pinged out by Muzi. He's going to react to that and probably yellow ping it or at least call it out for his team. So Brede, he's got a bit more to go on here. He should be able to play in there for a little bit longer.
Oh, the first pick again goes in favor of NIP, and Shaiko has died once more. Shaiko not having a good game for himself. 4 kills and 10 deaths. Pino, 14-6, the real MVP right now for NIP. He has been making moves and making it happen for his team. Let's see if he can do it, because he needs to, Ollie. He needs to. This is still match point for BDS.
It is. It isn't time for NIP to rest on their laurels. They still need to execute inside of this round, and we can see that being a bit more of a focus. Instead of pushing through Sunrise, this time they're going for a much more different approach. They've tried to clear out that top floor. They've been able to remove Shaiko, and now they're looking to pressure a little bit more on the site level itself. Psycho is going to be holding that main door area. Julio this time going to start his push on through. Brede once again going to back himself on out. This time goes vertical. I kind of like this adaptation from Brede. I think that there's a lot more that he can do there than just back himself on into kitchen. Sure, you give up the control, but you're still able to pose a threat here onto Julio from the vertical angle.
Lams has got his Echo drones in place, ready to try and deny either or. Whatever side they want to go for, NIP. They have it ready for kitchen, have it ready for delivery. And Julio on that Monty, here he comes again. Last time he walked straight through the bomb site, being able to gain as much information as he could, but time is slowly ticking down for NIP, and Pino, gets caught out, not ready for Bride. Muzi, though, has the refrag and still advantage for NIP. There's the Legion Mine. This could be the big decider. Julio now is constantly taking damage. He's thinking, wow, I have to get this out of my foot. You need to, as everyone's falling around him. Julio now goes for the kill. He will find, there has been a down, though. BDS still in lead. Muzi finds one, has to find another, but time is over. BDS, by the skin of their teeth, hold on, and they win Coastline.
A big game there for BDS. It wasn't easy for them. They took a good lead at the start of Coastline, but then things started to change. NIP came back with a huge fight back, but once again, time just running them a little bit short on their attacking rounds. A very fine margin though. 7 rounds to 5. BDS take map number 1 here inside of this best of 3. We have got a beautiful analyst desk to break this one down for you.
What an incredible game. Honestly, this was the way to end such a tight matchup, and this is only map number 1, Coastline. NIP's pick in this one, and they had to pull out the Monty, something that we in our own conversation were kind of hiding back and waiting in case we needed to fill in a bit extra time, but this is something that NIP definitely do not shy away from. Big advantage early on, though, for BDS.
It was a big advantage that they had. 4 rounds consecutively, and only one of them they had the entry kill. So every single time they managed to come back from a deficit and able to still win their round somehow. Now, that wasn't to the back of a 3K from Rafal and a 4K of a Lem, so very big individual performances there. But if you're then looking at the entire match, only 4 entry kills for BDS in the 12 rounds we've played.
It was, I guess, a better performance from NIP than what a lot of people might have expected. As you said, they sort of brought themselves into this Monty. They took away the ashes. It was, I got all of the operator ban predictions. Not that I'm going to rub that in, but... and then from then on, we could see that, I think the biggest thing was adaptation from the side of BDS. They were trying a lot of different things to respond to that Monty. In the end, they found themselves a bit stuck. It was Legion towards the end that brought a lot of time, but think of all the times that shield just went through the site, all the times that it just sort of bowled its way through. As it was pointed out, they were consistently bringing 4 grenades, they were doubling down with Sledge and Iana, and there was never a Jaeger pick until BDS had already secured map point. And you're looking at these adaptations and you're thinking, you know, maybe they were a little bit slower to wake up to NIP's game. It allowed NIP to get a lot of ground there.
Both teams incredible on their attacking side, and as both Demo and Exotrica were saying, is this going to go to OT? Isn't going to be 4-2, 4-2? Honestly, given Coastline...
I mean, the goo mine was a difference, Milosh.
I was going to say, I was screaming it into my mic, could you bring a Legion, bring a Legion, bring a Legion? And then
they can't hear you.
They cannot hear it,
which is good.
Just to be clear. But the goo mine really saved the round there because the Monty walked into the kitchen door, got stuck in the goo mine. Yes, of course, still managed to get the kill down, but at some point, you got to pull that needle out, right?
At the same time?
Yeah, but at the moment he pulls out that needle, he gets flanked from the back and shut down, and with that you lose your site presence. It is a 1v2 at that moment in time, you know, to take care of the echo, but there was no time anymore. There was 2-3 seconds left for them to rush the site. You're not going to make that stick.
I mean, it was a bit of a, I guess, a mixed start. There seemed to be a lot of scrappiness, but that's Coastline. And I think that's the end of the day is it's all threaded holds. It's all, you know, if you've got the watch from service across towards office, corner, you're building it around the back of lobby. And what we saw consistently was there'd be an NIP body that would push up, and then they would have a trade there as a trade was going on here, and then they kept on swinging away from each other because you have to. That's the nature of Coast. Nobody really had that consistent hold, and I think that's why the Monty was so effective, is it added the full stop. It added the end of the sentence of the approach.
But usually, we see a Monty pick as more of a crutch, right?
Yeah. I think on slower, heavier maps, it becomes a reliance, and it's also the problem that has been talked about with NIP is their attacks are very slow. I mean, the times it's a 5-1 advantage, they've got 2 seconds left, and that's when they're putting the diffuser down. And I think the most time they had between putting a plant down and the end of the round was about 20 seconds. It's late, and it's a slow game on Coast, which is the fastest map. If you take this equation and you put it onto Club, or you put it onto a bigger map, that's when the concern starts to strike with Monty being a crutch, because that's when you have so much more to do before it comes to actually hitting the site.
Another concern, Shaiko's performance in the game.
I told you, he's not like the big player in BDS at this very moment, not during the tournament, at least so far. Lems, on the other end, is the one that shows up when Shaiko doesn't. He was definitely here. Bride, by the way, also on 10 kills, I believe. So really, really big performances from those players. And well, in that case, you don't really have to show up, right? I mean, it's nice if you do, because it wouldn't be 6-5 in that case. But if you still manage to get that win down due to your other teammates picking up the pace like that, it's not that big of a deal. But I think BDS will be feeling a bit more comfortable if he does start putting down the frags again.
Then what is this? Because BDS win this by only a hair, though. So what is the weakness that really stood out that they need to fix for maps 2 and 3? Of course, our Clubhouse and Consulate.
Dropping entry was a big highlighter, because as soon as NIP realized that they could push on that, that's when they started to take rounds, and they were a bit slow on the first 4, which meant that they couldn't quite capitalize on the fact they had this man advantage. Similar to the problems that we saw from Cloud9 throughout groups, is they were the highest entry team, but they were obviously near the bottom of the board. It's not being able to capitalize upon the success that you've had was costly. They realized that with 2 rounds to go, and were able to sort of put the pressure on there, and then they carried that through onto the other side. But when you're attacking, it can sometimes get a little bit trickier in terms of Coast.
All right, Stein, I know you like data, so we have, or data at some point call it. Let's bring it up on the screen. It's their match summary. Stats 7-5. Tight game here. Pino, Muzi, the duo that you talked about very specifically stepping up in the game.
Yeah, they definitely stepped up, 14 and 10 themselves, and then of course Psycho on 10 as well. But just look quickly over to the side of BDS on the entry department. You there see Rafal 0 on 3. You see Shaiko 1 on 4, and that's just to tie it back to the point that Am just made. They need to make sure that that doesn't happen again. They need to make sure that they're a little bit more competitive on the opening kills if they want to perform well on the next map.
As I highlighted as well, because I said Pino and Muzi are the 2 to look out for their cost reliabilities, you look at that stat compared to the rest of the team, and both teams. And even though they lost the game, it was a close game. To hit 92% and 83% in a game where your team loses just shows that if they have 1 or 2 little moments that go right for them for the other players, like when they had that flawless round and everybody's done their job, amazing. They just need 1 extra body to do a little bit of lifting on certain rounds, and then that's their map, that's their win. And that's the big sort of, as I said at the very beginning of the day, you're drawing your eyes towards that stat and their performance. It's consistent. You need a spark from somebody else.
Time is NIP's biggest enemy right now. So we'll see, because come map 2, Clubhouse is going to get even more complicated time-wise for them. The only way they can survive is to push it forward to Consulate. Here's our map band. See the camera all the way at the top is showing us down here. Coastline is our first pick. That was for NIP. They end up with the L. You look wonderful.
It's a really far away camera.
It really is. You can barely see it. And Clubhouse is our second one, picked by BDS. Now, what is the difference stat-wise? Because we said NIP, they don't really have much to show on Coastline. EUL didn't really have much Coastline as well, so BDS didn't have a ton. What happens when it comes to Club? Because this definitely has become pretty much the #1 meta map.
Yeah, if I'm looking since the 1st of September from BDS perspective, point of view, 16 times played, 78% win percentage. That is pretty big overall, and of course that samples French League, European League, French Cup, and now SI as well. The thing to take away here though, because we keep on hammering back towards time, BDS is a team that manages to open up the walls every single time within 30 to 40 seconds. That is something to pay attention to. They set themselves up so quickly, which allows them to have that extra 2 minutes to go for the construction, hold, and take. And if NIP cannot deal with that, then these attacks are going to be really one-sided.
NIP are on the defense starting first, just because this is BDS's pick.
I think the comparison here to make, that I want to make from a very short space of time in terms of what we've seen from these teams, is this was BDS's only defeat throughout groups was Club versus Empire. And Empire, I think they have a lot of similarities to NIP, or to NIP. They play slowly. They build to try and create a success story and then try and implement it. Okay, Empire this time around has been phenomenal. They've had Joystick, who is the highest performing player out of anybody in the tournament across the board of just killing people especially, which we haven't quite seen from NIP yet, but that structural approach, that construction of their executes towards a later execute, that might lead to a little bit more success from NIP if they can have some solid ground to build on from their first half.
Now, they did lose it on SI already. I believe it was a 7-4 loss against Parabellum when they played Clubhouse for NIP, that is. So there is at least something to go off for both these teams here. But if you're looking at the more macro stats, again, since the 1st of September, 11 times played, 73% win percentage. So both these teams, they do feel within their respective regions very at home here. But it's going to be like, has BDS learned from the slow approach that Empire puts up? Because if they have, then they should be feeling really confident going into this map right now.
Expectation given the performance of map 1, M?
I think that we're going to see probably more adaptation for BDS. If they're going to go quick and they're going to go aggressive, as Hap said, if they can get a 3-3 at least on the split, I can see them taking the whole map. NIP need to lock some momentum, and they need to just set a pace, because if BDS get their pace on their attacks, they can put themselves in a really good position.
Yep.
Percentages, BDS 70% defensive team, 60% on the attacks. So if they manage to get a 3-3, this should be a close game.
All right, let's see how these two teams measure up against one another then, shall we, ladies and gentlemen? Hap, M, thanks so much. I know we could spend the whole day talking about every single map between these two, but it's time to kick it off. XR, Troika, and Demo are awaiting us. We're going to go to Hanover, which is not as sunny as Ibiza, at least I am told, and enjoy Clubhouse between BDS and NIP. Can NIP take it to map 3? That's all in our second one. Enjoy.
Milosh and Hap, thank you so much there. We are going to be coming back here with game number 2, map number 2, should I say, against these two teams, BDS versus NIP. BDS taking the advantage there on Coastline. And now we move into Clubhouse.
Yeah, Clubhouse, much more difficult map in terms of how aggressive you can play it, which I think is going to be a bit of a wake-up call for NIP. This is much more strat-orientated. A lot more hard breachers will be involved compared to Coastline. These two maps that we've just, well, what we've seen and what we're going to play on, it's a night and day difference.
It really is. It was kind of nice to see there in the bans and in the veto that we were seeing two such contrasting maps there. We got Coastline, a map famed for gun skill, explosive engagements, and, you know, a lack of hard breach requirement. And then you move over onto Clubhouse, where I'd like to see 2 hard breaches brought every round, Demo. I don't know about you.
Maybe 3?
Maybe 3.
You maybe you're looking at your Ace, your Habana, maybe a Maverick as well. We love a good Maverick in Club.
Maybe the little secondary can opener as well, as
maybe
it's been dubbed.
NIP Monty, secondary hard breach gadget.
Who knows? We're going to be jumping on in right about now. We've got the social vote there for you on the screen.
We've got points now.
Accurate numbers as well. Wow. 76.7% of you guys at home are backing Team BDS. And well, after that opening game on Coastline, I can't say that I blame any of you.
Bans now. What will we be seeing? I assume BDS will probably try and stick to that WAMI pick. I think NIP rely on that very heavily, especially for a map like Clubhouse. We're expecting to see a lot of the denial operators kind of come in. There's the Thatcher, no surprise. Put your hand up if you thought you were surprised by that ban.
No one's hand's gone up.
Nope, no one's hand's
I'm looking around and I'm struggling to see a hand anywhere that has gone up. Oh,
ho, ho. Well,
there it is. There's the target ban from BDS, removing Monty. NIP.
Outrageous ban.
It's a great ban. It makes a lot of sense. The Monty effect's no longer a thing, Demo.
Oh, not going to be the WAMI ban. Instead, Goyo is going to be banned out as well. Okay. Goyo, very strong with the deployable shields. Great for nearly every single bomb site you go to. Just gives you an extra layer of protection as well. And then there's the mirror, so no surprise. Right, so that means Maverick's going to be up, which should be taken, I think, 100% of the time. And all, if we don't see a Maverick, we'll be a little bit worried.
I brought my briefcase.
Good. We'll have to sell some Mavericks to everyone. Maverick on this map is essential. You need to have your Maverick. Why settle for less whenever you have a Maverick, you know?
Rafal immediately onto the Maverick pick there.
We were around his door today, weren't we? Selling it to him.
Just letting him know that there is a discount on Maverick on Clubhouse today. It is the low price of free. It is unbanned, so it is therefore available for selection. Shaiko finally reunited with Ash as well. Didn't have the best game over on Coastline. I'm sure he's looking to make an impact in the here and now. It was really a big story about Elems over on that previous map demo.
It was. Elem stepping up big time. Shaiko looking pretty out of it for the entirety of Coastline. But the thing is, right, is that we know the potential that Shaiko has. We know how good the guy is. If all the 4 members of BDS, except for Shaiko, were performing really well this competition, performing really well today, what happens to the unlucky team who has to play against the 4-man BDS who are all out of their minds, killing everything, and then Shaiko wakes up? How are you supposed to play against that?
It's the dangerous thing about this BDS roster, and I think it's one of the things that's enabled it to develop and gain a lot more depth throughout the recent season inside of EUL, is the fact that it is no longer a one-man show. It is no longer solely relied on one person for the kills. Multiple members on the team are stepping up and having those big, impactful performances, and that's something that we're really seeing generate round and game wins for them. In the here and now, they're going to be starting on attack here on Clubhouse. We do have a Cade employed by Julio. It's going to have Caded off Kitchen Hatch, and I would imagine Moto Hatch as well. So they're usually 2 hot spots. We can see him, in fact, ready to try and trick onto this hatch.
Yep, no surprise with the Kaid. Very difficult operator to deal with, but shouldn't be too much of an issue. I mean, BDS, they have that Maverick. You can open up hatch, and well, usually we don't see like every hatch opened unless there is, you know, a Kaid ban on the board. Then you can, but I think it's a bit of a risk. Bit of a risk for BDS just to go around and try and place his charges in every single hatch without actually knowing what side they want to take. Usually, you will find the system off. If a team wants to go for like a church take, they will take the Moto hatch, and that's really it. They'll play around with that. If they want to go for like a kitchen dirt take, they'll just take the kitchen hatch. I think 9 times out of 10, we usually see BDS try and trigger in towards that blue. I think that's a very pivotal location that they like to try and pressure onto. Anyone they're playing against, they will always try and take blue. So that hatch being opened isn't really a surprise. But this is the thing. The Kaid's there. Very, very difficult. Bride has the pellets, but cannot open up the hatch.
There needs to be something that happens there to Julio inside of Moto, because for all that Bride has a number of X-Kairos pellets to work with, there's only so many left. He's got 6 there remaining, so it maybe comes down to somebody else to open the hatch. But no, in fact, it will be opened. So Julio just really looking to burn a little bit more time there, really, as that hatch is always going to get opened, especially when Maverick is available. Pino has a nice C4 lined up, and he's maybe just waiting for a player to drop before letting it fly. It's going to have to travel directly over the reinforced wall. It's never an easy one to try and get. Pino, I'm not sure if the sound was maybe masked there, but he's certainly lacking some crucial information. It's one of those times where we just want to scream, just throw the C4, you're going to be fine, yet the C4 is still firmly in his hand. Rafal can now look to try and make some holes inside of this church wall. Julio finds the first frag there over onto Shaiko, as Rafal looks to cook a grenade and toss it on through, but there are going to be some ADSs there that are going to assist Pino in holding onto this crucial location.
Holes work both ways, and NIP are using that to full effect. And BDS, they have to try and climb into the bomb site any which way they can and rush in and find the kills. All of them stacked up towards main stairs. Julio trying to hold them back, but he will get eliminated. 10 seconds to go. Here comes the basement bloodbath. Bride eliminated. Psycho holding firm, holding that run in. And now NIP, all they have to do is sit back, relax, and let the time tick away for BDS, and that's exactly what happens. NIP holding basement firm.
Interesting to see no pressure really come in through Kitchen there. Now, I know that NIP had some C4s on their side, but Kitchen seemed to be the long-forgotten land there from BDS. And I think had they been able to provide a little bit more pressure through there, things like Ash Rush Sport start to become a lot more viable. Even just opening up Dirt Tunnel and then making a full rotation can be enough to remove players. We saw Kamikaze, he was able to basically hide out inside a Dirt Tunnel, entirely safe for pretty much the whole round there. A difficult one for BDS. They really struggled to gain any significant entry. They didn't actually even get open that church wall.
2 kills came from the Maverick calls in the triple wall. That's crazy for NIP. BDS trying to go for that triple wall take, not working out for them. Like you said, Kitchen Dirt is, I think, usually the bomb site, or like the attacker into that bomb site that we see the most. I think it's, across all regions, probably the highest attack win percentage as well. Very, very easy. If you can take Dirt, which I think is probably the toughest bit, is winning that 1v1 against like a Smoke or a Mute, whoever it is inside of Dirt. But once you have that Dirt control and Kitchen secured, it's very, very difficult for any defensive side to really hold that.
Kitchen and Dirt is a handshake, isn't it? You know, you need both of those to be able to get yourself on in. The thing that's sort of developed over the years of watching Clubhouse and seeing how it's grown as a map, you know, you need control of everything. And there's no real excuse for not having a player in blue, in Moto, bottom main stairs, and in Kitchen, and in Dirt Tunnel. Like, you need presence in the majority of those zones. You know, 3 out of those 5, it isn't always enough. You just need a little bit of something. And even if it's an open hatch and no one's up there, even if it's an open Dirt Tunnel and no one's pushing down, you've just got to give that doubt to the defenders, give them more angles to watch, because we've seen what happened when you announce yourself to a team like NIP. They're more than happy to say, oh, coming from main stairs, are you?
Yep.
Nice to meet you.
Yep.
My name's Julio, my name's Pino, and we are just going to gun you down.
So, BDS losing their first attack, and one thing I have to highlight, yes, it's very, very early on, but Shaiko, another opening death. What is it with him today and just trying to look for that opening engagement, but not winning his gunfights? Not sure.
He does seem to be struggling, though.
Like, there's been a lot of crazy things that have happened already in SI. I think the craziest thing is Shaiko has not performed to his expectations. I think that's the craziest thing out of them all.
And the fact that BDS still ended up with such a high seed.
Yes, true.
That's the scariest thing. That, for me, is the scariest thing. And it's one of the reasons why we can say, you know, yep, Shaiko might not have had the best tournament so far, but there's only a certain amount of kills to go around. And if those kills are being gained by other people, then it just is what it is. The problem then comes when BDS start to lose games and start to lose series and stuff, which, you know, hasn't happened yet. But that's when the problem starts to become a little bit deeper for them here. Now, we are just experiencing a quick rehost here. There was a problem after we'd finished round number 1. But fortunately, we are on the land build, so everybody can get back in nice and quickly. As I can see the players filling up the lobby right about now.
Land build is great. We have missed it. So quick, being able to get people in. Just nice. But yeah, NIP, Clubhouse, starting on the defense. You would expect them to have a strong half. I think they need to try and overwhelm BDS in that defensive. I think they need to, aim for a 4-2. 5-1 would be, ideal, but they could still probably get the map win if they take a 4-2. If it's not a 4-2 and it's anything less than that, then I do worry for them. I think BDS, whenever they get in the defense with NIP and their attacks have not been as strong as their defensive halves this entire tournament, with the time that we've kind of highlighted on Coastline, I worry for them.
If anyone at home wondered what NIP were actually looking at there, they're looking at the light bars. They move up and down. Anyone that watched the hammer sort of being presented and revealed will know that the hammer came down from the ceiling and there was all the light bars as well, and there's one half that's blue, there's one half that's orange. They are currently doing a little bit of a dance for us.
Doing a dance show.
And yeah, it's something that we do love to see. I think we're going to get a view of it there right now for you so you can see. I mean, what about the venue demo? It's incredible, isn't it? You know, we came in yesterday and it was just the lighting, the atmosphere, everything about it is amazing. The fact that the teams are actually opposite one another as well is quite unique. It's not something that we get to see all the time. Typically, you're going to be in, you know, just a line or maybe like a bit of a V shape, but these teams are seriously, in every meaning of the phrase, head-to-head, facing off against one another.
Yep. You look up at your monitor, you will see the enemy team. So, here we go. Back into the map we go. Defense will now move towards that cash room. No surprise, this is usually the second pick bomb site. Well, I mean, basement, cash, take your pick. You're going to see them either way. Doesn't matter what order it is. I mean, gym and bedroom, for me, Ollie, it's actually probably my favorite bomb site on this map. I actually really like the gym and bedroom. I think it opens up the defense to have much more of an aggressive standpoint. I think if you're an aggressive team or an aggressive player, that will be a bomb site that you like to play with.
We'll have to see just how aggressive BDS are able to get onto this now. As for, you know, in terms of controlling the map and getting those opening sort of checklist things done on Clubhouse. They were able to do that pretty easily. There was no real roam presence from the side of NIP, and you know, sometimes you kind of worry. You kind of think, you know, I'd like players at least on half stairs, you know, playing at the half stairs at blue, playing at the half stairs at main stairs, just threatening, just, you know, firing out a few shots, taking out a few drones, denying a bit of intel, doing whatever you need to do in the early part of the round. There's of course the full roam strategy where you employ the sort of drone denial, but we didn't see that from NIP. They were very reserved. They were very happy to just sit back in the bomb site and lean into those really powerful angles. Now, that's going to give BDS a little bit more time to work with. It's time they need to use wisely. This round is going to be a little bit different, as they're going to be able to get open this east wall pretty much for free, as Renshiro is going to pre-remove all of that soft wood and allow Rafal to destroy the reinforcement with Maverick's blowtorch.
Yeah, no surprise. One thing you have to do on this bomb site is basically take it as if you're, I don't know, baking a cake. You have a recipe book and you have to try and follow every single step. You know, you're not going to put your flour in before beating your eggs, are you?
I mean, I am no baker. I'll be honest with you. I would not know the order of the things, but...
You're not going to sieve your flour, are you?
I mean, something that I would know is that the first thing you want to do is get east wall open. That's usually a good place to start here when attacking. Get that rotation cut off, split the bomb site in half, and make it difficult for players to transition them between either garage, through CCTV, into cache. All of a sudden, you've got something to work with there. If someone's inside a garage, typically they're going to be fairly well committed to that zone. As it stands, NIP, they've invested quite heavily inside of the master bedroom side, and there's only Muzi playing on garage.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see what side BDS want to try and take. It looks as if it will be a garage push. So that's where they're going to try and open up next. Rafal will make a little bit of a line and hopefully finish that off. Perhaps looking for a nade potentially as well could be an option for him. But decides just to back away and wrap round along with Bride. Alems finds opening pick. That's going to be Psycho. Where was that from? Where was Alems hanging out? Just by the breach. Oh, it was a swing perhaps. And NIP getting caught out by the Sophia.
I think Muzi's potentially been droned there. Shaiko going to push himself up cache, but there's no intel here for the side of NIP. Finds himself a freebie onto Kamikaze, can dip back, destroy that Banshee. Muzi is going to be in such a crucial engagement here. Alems has just walked on in. Muzi and Pino respond, finding a couple of kills each, but it still leaves the advantage here with BDS, and the position of Muzi in the bottom of garage isn't ideal either. He's going to drop and maybe look to make a rotation up blue as Pino's getting himself into a head-to-head gunfight here. Draws for the shotgun, going to go for the swing, shuts down Renshiro with the headshot, but gets downed himself. Muzi now having to push on through a C4 from below. That's going to be massive. Bride, he's got 12 seconds, but he's still going to go for the plant. Muzi might know this, chooses not to revive Pino and not to push Bride. Two big decisions there that cost him a good couple of seconds. The plant has now been confirmed, but Bride, he can't actually make his way back out. He's scared of getting taken down there on the rotation. Not working off all too much information here. They're going to swing it one by one. They give him two 1v1s, but Muzi's better. Finds the headshot. You can probably hear NIP in the background. They're very happy with that one. That's a huge clutch there for Muzi.
Pino and Muzi, do not forget about the other one, Ollie. They go hand in hand as that duo for NIP, and they show up once again where it is needed. BDS were all over NIP, walking up into the bomb site, but of course, it had to be Pino and Muzi to show up time after time and make things happen. BDS getting caught out, surprised that they lost that round. I think they didn't prioritize the plant enough. I think they kind of thought, okay, Alems is in the bomb site. We all have to rush and help him out. Where in that circumstance, Alems has got his kill. He's denied a C4 potentially from the kite. He's done his job. At that stage, you have one guy in breach, you have another guy behind him on catwalk, you have one guy planting. And that is the only thing they should have prioritized, but they did not. They chased the kills, they got greedy, and they got punished.
A strange round from BDS to see players like Shaiko just be allowed to push up cache stairs, to see Alems essentially just crouch walk his way into cache. You've got to ask questions at that point when the round then doesn't go in your favor as to what's gone wrong and what's happened, because site control was something that was passed between the hands of both of these teams for a good portion of that round. It wasn't clear who was in direct control of the site. There was times when BDS had an advantage. There was times when NIP seemingly had the advantage. But ultimately, the clutch factor. Bride, tough spot. 12 seconds left. Is that the time to be going for the plant, or do you start to look for the kills? Always going to be a difficult one. I imagine because he went for the plant, he would have had the information. He would have known in that instance that Pino was down, because he then knows he's in the 1 versus 1 and he's expecting Pino to be revived. He's going to get the plant down, extend the time, then he knows he's just got to clutch the 2 versus 1. It's the best possible outcome at that moment in time. Someone else could look at it and say, well, if you think he's getting revived, push it. It's essentially a 1v none at that point if someone's locked into a revive animation. But that is all things to think about on another day. For now, we just look and focus on what's going on in front of us. NIP 2 rounds up here on Clubhouse. Sure, they're on the defense, but they've come out very strong after the performance on Coastline.
Gym and bedroom defense for them now as well, but NIP have to try and hold. BDS taken in from security, no real surprise. This is where the kind of aggressive bomb site choice of Gym and bedroom can play into an advantage of a particular team. And well, for NIP, where they like to have this roam game, you have to kind of extend in towards construction, in towards the cache room and deny access. And just don't give away early map control to the attackers. It is definitely a necessity. Muzi on top of the main stairs. He's got plenty of ADSs and shield as well, and there goes the Wamai disc even. So much utility being fired in, and Pino's going to be one to open up with a C4 kill, and Psycho as well. BDS, they've thrown everything that they can at this defense from NIP, but it has not worked. They've lost 2 men. Finally, they have a bit of control, and Shaiko's going to need to go big. Can he see another one? No, he can't. Pino just about gets that kill. Shaiko almost had him, but it still leaves Bride inside of the 1 versus 4, and Ollie, BDS can't even get past the first wave.
Poor old Bride, eh? 2 1 versus X's inside of the first 3 rounds. At this point, he's just taking his time. Yep. He's thinking, you know what? There's essentially a minute free tack time out here. To be able to clutch this kind of a 1 versus 4, it is not going to be easy. We can see some questionable Toxic Babe canisters getting tossed on out there. NIP maybe don't have the information as to where Bride is. He's going to get himself out onto the rappel, seemingly composed, to try and gather a little bit of information, maybe just learn a bit about the setup, see what NIP are bringing here, because the likelihood is that they're going to be going up here again to defend. He's going to be able to search out one of the players inside of Cash. A bit of an extended run out there. Some unnecessary aggression. You don't really want to give Bride any 1 versus 1s here, as however unlikely it is, it's still doable that he's able to clutch this out. A Toxic Babe is going to cut off his ingress. Well, with only 15 seconds, as every second ticks on by, it becomes increasingly more unlikely that this is going to be a clutch for Bride, and it's more likely going to be an impactless frag at the best. He does go for the swing, but Muzi is there ready and waiting to shut him down. NIP, a fantastic off-site hold of Gym and Bedroom there, really making these defensive rounds count on Clubhouse.
Well, now the turntables. All of a sudden, we've seen a 3-0 lead from BDS and Coastline. And that was NIP's map pick, and now we're seeing BDS in their map pick go 3-0 down. Wow. NIP, 3 rounds that they definitely need. I think still 1 more is needed for them to have a good fighting chance as they move over towards that attacking half. But right now, they are on course.
10 seconds to go.
Let's just hope they don't hit any icebergs in the way there.
We'll have to see how they go, as they've given us the full rotation here in Clubhouse. No one expects to see Bar in stock, however much of a good meme it would be. The game of this stakes is not the time to be bringing out that side. They're going to take us downstairs to Church. Something that I really liked inside of that last round demo, and something that's really worth highlighting, is the Wamai play. It was an operator that we saw banned out on Coastline. There was a lot of grenade play on Coastline because of the Wamai being banned and the Ash being banned. It forced Shaiko onto the Iana. We spoke about that at the time. Now we're seeing the other side of that. We're seeing just how well NIP can utilize that Wamai and how much of a difference it makes when they commit all 3 of their ADSs, a deployable shield and Wamai discs into a hotspot, into an area where they know that BDS are going to push through, or they know that they want to keep a hold of, and BDS have just played into it. That's what upset me the most out of that last round, I think, is that BDS have seen all this and they've just been like a moth to a flame. They've gone, I'm going to play into all this utility. We didn't see anyone over in Jacuzzi. I don't even think Jacuzzi wall got opened because there was so much pressure coming in through that CCTV side.
Yeah, it was a 5-man take, and it just did not work for BDS. NIP, they've done the full rotation. And now they head back down to their first bomb site, which is the basement once again. BDS, how will they be taking this round? We've kind of highlighted that perhaps the kitchen dirt is the way forward. Perhaps a Kurt push, could we call that? New acronym? Kurt? What do you think? Is that gonna work? Will that stick?
I'll have to find a player called Curtis that can play it really well, and then maybe the name will stick.
Yeah. That kite again being played, which, as we know, is a little bit pesky to deal with, and it shouldn't be too much of an issue. I mean, they have the Maverick. It should be an easy job for him to open up the hatch, so I think BDS, they don't really have anything to worry about. I think it's just how they execute, and I think that opening pick for them is everything. If they can get the opening pick, they have that man advantage, and man advantage on this particular bomb site is everything. We see so many times in so many rounds for this bomb site that it gets down to the final 20 seconds, 15 seconds, and it's a 5v5.
It goes even deeper than just having another gun as well. It's a utility advantage. There's so much pressure on every piece of utility that these attackers are bringing, and there is a job for every single ounce of it. You've got to make sure that you're milking the most out of that utility. And if you lose somebody early, you lose the book, well, kitchen isn't going to get open. That's something that we saw really hurt BDS last time. This time, Renshiro's got himself in. He's going to look to try and open up as much of this floor as possible. Rafal's going to go in with a grenade. It's not going to do any damage, but it could have removed a little piece of utility. I think it's potentially there for the Cade charge on the hatch. It's now going to give Brede the opportunity to get that open. It's a criticism we made in the previous round that there wasn't enough pressure coming in from that kitchen area. Shaiko going to get himself now down into Moto, as Blue is being pushed here by Alem. So a nice two-pronged attack. In fact, make it three as Renshiro, he's going to be joining from Oil Pit as well. So Muzi really going to be feeling the pinch here, but Pino picks up the opening frag there over onto Shaiko, shutting him down inside of Moto. It's now a little bit less to worry about. Rafal, instead of opening up that wall, now has to plug that gap. He has to try and fill the hole that has been left behind, but Renshiro goes huge. Manages to pick up two as Muzi and Pino pretty much line up for each other. Julio does get a trade back with a C4 there over onto Alems and look to aggress on in a little bit further. Finds himself a second onto Renshiro. He's got a glimpse, he's got a chance, he manages to find the frag. Julio goes massive, picks up a quad kill there to keep NIP on a flawless streak here on Clubhouse.
Oh, Julio, I was worried for a minute. You seen him planting right before your eyes, but in the end, it did not matter. You still found those kills, and it was enough to send NIP 4-0 up. Wow, BDS mudded right now. Their attacks are not working. I like the adaptation of sending another person down blue. We've seen Renshiro pick up 2 kills, but the entire Moto push that they had going on just did not work whatsoever. BDS, I don't know, some people just maybe not waking up, not winning their gunfights. That might be what it's down to. I mean, right now, NIP, in terms of kills, they're killing a lot better.
I mean, Julio, what can you say? Steps up when it matters, picks up a quad kill. Everybody on the side of BDS knew where he was there. You can't get multiple kills and nobody to know where you're coming from. He's not some sort of masked vigilante here that's dipping in and out of the shadows. He's bold as brass inside of blue, making that rotation. It's not quite unforgivable, but it's getting there for BDS. They're really struggling with that coordination here on Club. And it's surprising because so far, these two maps have kind of gone the opposites of what we were expecting, right?
It is. I think Julio for NIP is a crucial player, 100%. I think if you look at the other 4 players in NIP, you know what you're going to get with them, yeah? You're always going to get what you see in the label. With Julio, you don't know, because there's 2 different labels, Ollie. There's one that says, I don't really do much, or I do everything. And right now, we're getting the everything label.
I'd add an asterisk to the first one and say, it doesn't look like I do much. Because I think behind the scenes and in the comms, a lot of stuff comes from Julio. And that's why he's able to do things like play the Monty when it comes around to the attacking rounds, provide that information, be that shot caller, and just focus solely on the IGLing aspect. Because you're right, sometimes the visible contribution isn't all too much. And then in other rounds, we get 4Ks.
Exactly. It just depends how he feels in the day, isn't it? We have no idea how Julio will show up. But I think, again, that's maybe why it makes NIP so scary. It's something that you cannot predict is how Julio's going to play. And if he's in a good form, like he just was, Scary, scary, scary stuff.
Just take a moment to look at the kills on the side of NIP, and you can see that we've got Muzi, Julio, and Pino, 4 and 5 kills. Pretty much each. Julio sitting there on 4, the last 4, of course, that he got in the previous round, but the more important columns may be the deaths. They've died a maximum of 2 times each. Pino and Psycho dying 2 times each, and then the rest of the guys just dying 1 time inside of the 4 full rounds we've seen now into round number 5. They're not going for these aggressive swings. They're not going for these, you know, careless challenges. Everything is considered and everything is you know, really counted and measured. Alems will find the opener this time onto Muzi. Opening kills so far have only come off the back of Alem's gun. He's going to be able to find himself a second before getting shut down as 2 kills fly on in for NIP. Psycho decides to jump in on the action, taking down Rafal.
Great work by Alems, finding a double, and oh, Kamikaze challenging with the SMG. Not favorable form in that engagement, and Shaiko picks up an easy kill. Still going to be a 3 versus 2, still potential now. 2 versus 2 as Pino has picked up his own kill with the SMG. Psycho all by himself in the catwalk, ducking and diving every which way he can. The flashbangs rattle on out, but he's still here. He still can see as well as anyone else. Oh, I say that. He's been full blinded. Renshiro has to try and find him, and no, Bride is there to find him himself. Renshiro challenging on to that rotation, and Pino now on the 1 versus 2. If anyone can do it, it will be this man. Swings about 20 HP, but no, Bride. Massive round from the Thermite. He gets the kills where it's needed.
NIP just needed a little bit more from Pino there whilst the pressure was coming in, I think. You can't afford to leave it being a 2 versus 1 when you're getting flashbanged out like that. You've got to try and take a little bit of advantage of that, because reality, there's no way that Psycho gets out there alive. He's not able to crawl. He's not able to get up into a crouch position and rotate. He can't even see. You know, like, what do you expect the guy to do? You know what I mean? He can't even see. So maybe a little bit more wanted there from Pino in that clutch, but let's be honest, 4-1, it's still pretty convincing here from the side of NIP. That's going to do a lot for BDS, though. That is the first success they've seen since winning Coastline. Up until that point, they have just gone loss after loss, round after round has gone against them. Now could be the time for BDS to turn it on. They don't really want to be leaving it much later. A 4-2 split would still be respectable here on Club.
It would be, but a 5-1's better. Let's be honest. Let's not beat around the bush, Ollie. 5-1.
I mean, not for BDS, it's not.
Yeah, obviously not for the team that's on the receiving end of that, but yeah, a 5-1 would be magnificent for NIP. Gym and bedroom is where they go to. They had the option to go to cash again, but no, opting for the gym and bedroom, which I think arguably probably been their best defended site. BDS, not even a foothold inside of this round last time they played it.
Jacuzzi didn't get touched.
Yep.
I don't think an attacker stepped foot inside of cash, let alone construction or master bedroom. There was nobody on main stairs. I don't think anyone pushed in from logistics. It was an entirely one-sided push. It all came through cash and
CCTV. That was the only pressure you had.
BDS can't play into that again. This is something that NIP have set up. They have thrown the kitchen sink at this setup. It's exactly the same as previously. There's going to be a deployable shield at the top of cash stairs. There's going to be WAMI magnets. There's going to be ADSs, and there's going to be toxic babe canisters, all of which are going to really slow you down. Already, I like the position of Alems.
Yeah, I
like the fact that he's not pushing there. Already, I like the position of Bride. This is good adaptation here from BDS. And NIP are going to have to turn tail pretty quickly to get repositioned for this new push.
Yeah, NIP putting so much utility is naturally going to deter away all of the defenders. As you can see now, NIP, they've realized that, hey, they're not going for the entire cash side. They're actually going to go for the other side. Let's set up appropriately for that. Using a Thermite charge on the single construction wall, an area that we do not see be pressured as heavily as I think we should be. I think that's a great angle to open up. You can shut down the rotation from construction into office very easily, and of course, gives you another way into the engagements. You know, people swinging into construction all the time. We see that very frequent. Pino, in towards dirt. You can get an angle up to the Jacuzzi balcony, but nobody's home for him this time around. Wall's been opened. Bathroom wall has also been kited, so they can open that. The only way that they can do it is if they get Rafal in to use the Maverick. But Maverick in that wall is extremely risky. I doubt we will see that.
Yeah, it's not ideal to be Maverick in that wall. It's usually a one-way ticket to watching cameras as you're just going to get picked off with a C4 or you're going to get swung or something is going to happen. It's a long process to try and Maverick open a wall, and that adjustment, picking up that K charge and replacing it, is going to do quite a bit here for NIP. But Lems manages to make his way up through main stairs, swings for a second but gets shut down by Kamikaze as kills trade 1-for-1 here between these two teams. Brede going to go for a plant now. It is a soft wall there. Kamikaze has a chance, but the covering fire is there. That diffuser is now going to be locked on in. There's a C4 below, but it's coming in a bit too little too late as it's going to swing and miss just about everybody. Muzi now isn't working off any intel. Brede hasn't been able to move from where he planted. He stood directly on that diffuser. Nobody has any sort of information on that, and it's going to make it very difficult now for NIP to come away with a retake here. Muzi going to aggressively push his way on in, but he hasn't checked his corner. Brede's got the plant and a kill from exactly the same spot. 2 massive kills for NIP. This is very doable here. There's time to defuse, but no, Rafal takes down Pino, and Kamikaze is left in the impossible spot. Hiding outside, we can see the times tick down to 7. The last kill goes through as a trade. It matters not. There was not enough time to disable that diffuser. And BDS come away with that fabled 4-2 split.
So needed for BDS as well. So needed. Still, a good half from NIP. A 4-2 is a great thing to have under your belt going into the attack, but almost nearly a 5-1. I have to give credit to Brede. The plant position he had, Ollie, was perfect. Off position. Nobody's expecting. We've seen where the C4 came out from below. It was onto the default plant spot behind the mattress. Brede rushed deep, obviously fearing that the potential of a C4 from below. And also on top of that, they did not have construction control. It meant that he had to plant somewhere that wasn't, you know, the safest. Of course, planting up against a soft wall, it's not a great plant position, but in that time, NIP had no idea where BDS were trying to get the diffuser down. It worked in their advantage massively. It gave them a free kill. And overall, I think Brede making that round a success.
Another fearless plant from Brede. He had one over on Coastline, didn't he? I think that's the fearless plant that we've seen from him here inside of Clubhouse. Back downstairs we go as BDS start off their defensive campaign here. Taking us to Church and Arsenal. Now, a slightly different lineup coming out. They're going to bring a Rooney. A Lems is going to be manning the good old Surrey Gate or the Laser Gate.
What kind of gate?
It's a Laser Gate. It's a little pet name for the old Surrey Gates. They're going to be setting up in a slightly different fashion. We're seeing some changes on the side of NIP as well.
No Jaeger again? I'm really surprised at BDS. I'm really surprised at Shaiko, to be honest. I mean, I don't know if the loss of 5 bullets and a change of the recoil has really hit him that much. But I'm just, again, just very, very surprised we're not seeing Shaiko and Jaeger. Very, very surprised.
I think it's surprising whenever we don't see the Wamai as well, but I feel like if you're going to bring Jaeger, you need to almost bring Wamai to get the most out of the Jaeger, because there's just so much on the side of the attackers that they're going to be able to use to burn through everything that you've got. You know, look at the lineup that we're seeing. You know, it's not quite as much as it could be in this attacking lineup. You know, we've got the Jackal and the Ace. You know, the Jackal's going to bring the smokes. The Ace now brings the Claymore. Excuse me. So we're not seeing 2 nades being brought. It's not something that, you know, you're going to really look to try and double down on. But what it is going to do is it's going to make the nades of Julio a lot more potent.
Yeah.
They're going to be able to hit the mark a lot easier because they're unlikely to be impeded. And the only really thing that can get in the way is going to be one of those laser gates.
Big operator being chosen by NIP. The Jackal comes into play, and that will help them massively with this certain setup that BDS have went for. They're having a lone man inside of CCTV room, and Brede! Oh, what an outrageous wall bang, and Psycho's gone. I was going to go on a rant about how good Jackal is, but no, he's dead, Ollie. He's gone.
Not what you want to be losing early.
No.
Let's be honest. You usually use them to find Jackal to find the roamers. Instead, Jackal was found by the roamers. Muzi, he's moving into a position now to try and get a kill, even if it's going to be a late trade. Look at him pre-firing that. There was no way that Muzi was letting Brede get out of there alive. The pre-fire came a good couple of seconds early as he really wanted to try and guarantee that kill. Flush out the players from top floor. we can now see that everybody remaining on the side of BDS is going to be playing on the site. Demo, look at how much time this has cost. If you want to waste time against NIP, throw a roamer out there.
Yep.
Everybody knows that NIP are a slow team to execute. You give them something else to worry about. And we're at 35 seconds. We're only just getting Moto hatch open. Muzi maybe going to make a rotation now in through Kitchen. I believe Kitchen hatch will be open as well. BDS, they're in a good position to try and respond onto this one.
Not just a good position, a great position. It's still going to be a 3 versus 3 as Pino and Alams both get kills. Muzi now dropping down, dodges the flashbang and going in for the defuse now. Perhaps no covering off, and Renshiro will actually nail the diffuser in 5 seconds to go, and Echo is up as well. NIP just a little bit too slow.
Something we've said quite a few times now, Demo, is NIP and time. NIP a little bit too slow. BDS, they have enabled that. They have accelerated how much that really comes to hurt NIP. One roamer was all it took. BDS playing inside of CCTV was all it took there. An opening kill. You could see that NIP wanted to try and move a little bit quicker there. If a team wants to deal with roamers quickly, they're going to bring the Jackal. It's, you know, roamers can be dealt with drones and crossfires and setting up. You want to deal with a roam quickly, you bring the Jackal. It's one of the reasons why we see NIP bring in Lion, because they want to deal with that roam as quickly as humanly possible, because they themselves know. We've spoken to Julio in interviews, and he knows that they're a slow team on the attack. So they use these tools to try and speed themselves up, and unfortunately end up losing that opening engagement. It's going to be the first round here for BDS on the defense, but could it be a sign of things to come?
So, BDS, good first start to your round, and now you're going to move into your next bomb site and towards that cash room, no surprise. And finally, Shaiko on his signature operator, Jaeger, has been brought. I think for this bomb site especially, you definitely need to have that for the catwalk hold. Catwalk is probably the most, not probably, definitely the most difficult position for a defender to hold. You're up here, and it is just terrible. You are stuck like a rat. You're trapped in. Once that breach gets opened, you're not getting out. You're on your belly for, I'd say, 70% of the round. It is thinking about playing here just does not make me feel well. I feel uncomfortable talking about it.
More like a slug than a rat then? If you're going to be on your belly?
Rats scurry along the floor, like, come on now.
Just slithering around, you know, chilling out there on the catwalk. It is a difficult place to play. You often play there until the bitter end. It can be very awkward to try and get out of there alive.
But one thing about a catwalk player, though, Wally, is it can be a make or break of a round. If the catwalk player finds maybe 1 or 2 kills, that is more than enough to kind of sacrifice. I think if the catwalk player is strong enough, which I think is going to be Rafal in this scenario, probably not the best operator. I mean, the SMG-11 is not the greatest in terms of long-distance engagements, which you will have a lot of in that position. If he picks up 1 or 2 kills, yeah, definitely worth it.
That's it. It comes down to wasting time as well and having a presence and, you know, being able to just not give away such free and early access over toward the attackers. Lems is actually going to be downstairs there as well. So maybe looks to join his teammate in holding on to that garage. Rafal's going to be up there inside of the rafters. I kind of like that from BDS, honestly. I think it's, you know, good to try and invest in there just a little bit. It gives Rafal a little bit more time, a little bit more option. It's more things to peek from, and with the amount of pressure that NIP are currently putting into it, it's probably pretty safe to say that both of those players are going to be alive, and if no push comes through garage whatsoever, then it makes executing onto the site as an attacker extremely difficult.
Shaiko, close to the construction door, which is the area that NIP want to try and execute on. They're going to try and attempt a bedroom take in towards Cash, and Shaiko does not care, almost finds the second. Oh, a bunch of kills come out. It's actually been a nade kill on the Kamikaze. Oh no, NIP, this is tragic for them.
We said that those nades would hit, but we didn't realize that they would be hitting friendlies. Muzi, unfortunate stuff, puts a few shots into Rafal, but it is not enough. A Lems with the swing, a lack of information here for NIP and Psycho in the 1 versus 4. The diffuser cold on the ground just to his left. He will be able to recover it if he likes, but look at the situation that he's in. He's getting pinged out by a Yokai drone. He's able to push on through, finds a down and confirms it. Manages to find the first one. Now goes hella aggressive, vaulting over the shield, looking to make his way through the rotation hole, but it announced himself. A Lems shuts him down, and BDS, they look they're going to start to try and level things up here.
Yeah, that round, a little bit sloppy from NIP. The nade team kill, ooh, a little bit, I'd say, frustrating round more than anything. Looked good, the setup looked good. And all of a sudden, that happens. It puts a real dampener on the round, and it did kind of end at that point. NIP losing. What's that? That's 4 rounds in a row they've lost. Keep that in mind. They won 4 rounds, and now BDS have responded with 4 rounds on the bounce. Wonder if NIP were maybe thinking, should we take the tactical timeout at this round? Maybe.
I think it's a thought that's got to flash through your mind, doesn't it?
When you keep it if they go lose another one, maybe.
There's an argument to, you know, maybe using it at the end of the next round if that doesn't go their favor as well, because then they will have seen all the sites. Yeah. You know, you want to use it after you've got as much information as possible to then discuss inside of the timeout. So far, NIP have seen 2 defenses, and they know what they're going to be expecting.
They're still even. It's not as if they're losing now. I think if they lose this round, then they'll be 5-4 down. Perfect time to use it.
You know, defend-decided Clubhouse. I am not blown off my feet. You know, I am not at all with shot. Okay, it's what we kind of expect to see, especially when, you know, we've got 2 teams facing off against each other of this sort of caliber. You do expect defensive rounds to come a little bit easier.
If we compare this map to Coastline, whenever NIP were panicking a little bit, we've seen the Monty be pulled out. Can't do that. Monty's been banned out. It's a bit of a tough one, I think, for NIP. It's an operator that they rely on very heavily to kind of get them out. It's like their last chance to really pull off anything. It's like the redemption operator. But yeah, I think losing that, it's going to put a dampener on things, definitely.
Fear not, Demo. There is still an operator called Blitz.
Blitz isn't a Monty.
If we see the Blitz, we know that NIP are down bad, because it doesn't perform the same task. It doesn't tick the same boxes that the Monty does. I think that NIP have just now got to battle through that crutch pick of the Monty, if that's what it is. You know, and we call it that because we see it brought in so many crucial rounds when things really do matter and, you know, games start to be on the line. Don't forget, the game is on the line here for NIP. If they lose this, they drop down into the lower bracket. Team BDS, they want to try and get the win here and just secure it as a nice, easy 2-0 and then be able to move on through. What's going on here? That mute jammer placement is beautiful. It has been placed a little bit further back than usual, and I'm not sure if anyone is able to get an angle on it. It's going to take Muzi actually pushing all the way through, in through Garage and onto Catwalk to be able to destroy that mute.
So, Rafal and Shaiko will be the 2 men, and Pino, from below, I mean, the Buck is a very dangerous operator for this particular setup. Whenever you know teams are holding in towards cash, go below, start opening the vertical game, and it will gift you kills. Shaiko is off the board, and NIP, they have that cash room side. This is where they can establish their push, and, well, I mean, this is much further than where BDS were at whenever they were trying to go for this attack.
It is. We've not seen too much success from attackers so far pushing through construction side, but NIP are making it look relatively straightforward here. They've been able to get the opening kill as well, and they now look to try and pressure on into the site. Muzi, in fact, just going to waltz his way all the way on through. The Psycho is pressuring now into Logi. Renshiro going to be playing there as well. He's got some ping information. He knows that players are going to be coming on in, maybe calling for a C4 from below. A Lems is going to oblige. That can now be called out as and when it is required to be detonated, and at least Renshiro won't go down without at least the chance of a kill coming through as a trade. But Muzi from nowhere takes down Renshiro, furthering the advantage here for NIP. Now, in typical NIP fashion, they haven't got the most time in the world, but there is 30 seconds. It is time enough to work with here. BDS BDA goes for a swing as well. It's shaping up to be a flawless as Muzi goes massive. Does get shut down by Rafal. Psycho has made his way into logistics. The C4 was not detonated, and a Lems will fall before he can do so. Rafal now left inside of the 1 versus 4. Psycho shuts him down. A successful gym and bedroom attack here from NIP.
BDS not holding angles, allowing NIP just to walk in. Yeah, very, very confusing. NIP could not have had an easier round if they wanted to. BDS, I don't know. Very little site presence, losing cash early on, which was a big thing. You have to give credit to NIP. Their cash take was exceptional. I love the fact that they put the buck below. I think as soon as, if you're holding inside a cash and you hear a buck, automatically you are scared. You're thinking, okay, I need to get out of here or else I will get killed from below.
Certainly not somewhere that you want to be. Very destructible, and it's all enough to try and force players to make rotations and move. I liked the confidence that we saw NIP moving with there, particularly on the side of Muzi.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
He was able to get himself in and just show us what he's all about. He is able to get in there and just start fragging out. And BDS didn't have a Scooby-Doo of a clue as to where that was all coming from. There was some nice little play there from BDS. You know, I really liked the way that Ranchero and LMs were able to coordinate the C4, but it was all just stuff that didn't really come to anything. The focuses were maybe a little bit elsewhere, and had a flank come up through Garage, had there been a little bit of late round pressure, we could have seen something a bit different there, but NIP, for all intents and purposes, flooded in through CCTV and cash and won the gunfights.
Yeah, again, Shaiko losing that opening engagement, another opening death for him. It would be an interesting stat to see how many times he has died first in, I think, both maps as well. But we'll see if Shaiko can maybe pull it together and get back into that form that we know is so scary. But everyone else in BDS still stepping up to the plate. I mean, Alliams, again, this man, this tournament, he wants that trophy. He wants to win that.
He really does. If BDS want a chance at getting there in a little bit of a shorter way, they need to win this map demo. We don't really want to be going to all maps inside of a best of 3, although there is a delight awaiting us if we do. We do get Consulate. Could be one of those days where either team win one another's map pick.
Yeah, we see that a lot.
This was picked by BDS. You know, teams have deep map pools for a reason. You know, a map that your opponents pick, you know, it's usually a map that you're quite happy to play on as well, because this is the way that the map bans are masterminded by mainly the backroom staff. I think some of the unsung heroes behind a lot of these teams. They come out with these, you know, wonderful sort of map ban strategies and figure out just whereabouts they're going to go, and they usually know exactly where that is. So both teams very well prepped coming into this one. We're seeing NIP just edge the lead here. I think the important thing to note is that they've been able to do that quite early on into their attacking phase.
Yeah.
Because now it just gives them a little bit more of an opportunity that, you know, there's 2 rounds left here of regulation to try and sort of close this out for them.
Yeah, the last attack that NIP had on the basement, it was pretty miserable. The time just up against them right the way through. This time BDS, I think they've gave early kind of map control over to NIP, not wanting to chance any roam games or anything like that. But again, NIP, I mean, with 1:15 to go, that's more than enough time in terms of how quick the basements gets pushed, which is not quick at all. It is definitely one of the most slowest rounds that we have out of any off the maps. This is a very layered map. You have so many different things you need to check off. You have so many different angles, destructibility, all of the hatches. It is a real task, and Shaiko, as easy as you like with the C4, finds the kill on Depino, the first blood going in favor of BDS, and Ollie, that has been the real game changer for BDS. If they have the opening kill on this bomb site, it makes things a lot easier for them.
It really will. Psycho now forced to drop into Moto as he needs to advance his push. Lem's see a huge chunk of damage, but Muzi going to come in with a trade over onto Shaiko. Now control of blue has been gained, and it's going to turn the heads of a few of these defenders as they try and stem the flow from that direction as well. Muzi not going to put too much pressure here, though. He knows that he's got time on his side. 20 seconds, in fact, to get his utility on through. A beautiful headshot onto Ranchero. He now knows that there's a player inside a dirt tunnel as well. He's going to shut him down as well. Finds himself the triple. Lem's left in the impossible position. Julio comes in with a trade there, picking up that round for NIP. That's going to put them demo onto a match point.
Muzi, unbelievable inside of blue. That shot that he pulled off was fabulous. Wow, NIP just keep it going, Ollie. This train that they're on, match point for them. One more round and it will see out Clubhouse in their favor. BDS need to pull off 2 rounds to take it to OT.
Church and Arsenal being tried again here from BDS Demo.
That kill he got on Renshiro. Wow. This guy, I said it, Pino Muzi. That is the duo. Big reason why NIP did so well their last Invitational run, and a big reason why they're still in this game today.
You can just say how much it means to them as well. They know the importance of that upper bracket seed and being able to stay inside of the upper bracket. You know, the team that loses here, they're not out. That's something to stress. They do drop down into that lower bracket, and there is a chance to make the miracle run. Yep. But it's a long old road.
Ollie, if you're in the upper bracket and you win 3 matches in a row, you're in the grand final with a map advantage. 3 matches, that is it. Whereas, for example, if we take a team from the lower bracket who are playing today, they have to win 7. I think it's 7. 99% sure it's 7.
More than 3.
Yes, definitely.
It is a long and arduous journey through that lower bracket. It is possible. However, give yourself the best chance, reveal the least, keep yourself nice and fresh. You want to make that miracle run through the upper bracket and get to the grand final, as you say, Demo, in a short amount of games as possible. NIP, they've kept themselves in this match and this matchup. BDS winning map number 1. They now sit on a match point. A chance to close things out and to take us onto our 3rd map, Consulate. I've got to question the side choice here from BDS. What are they hoping to achieve? What are they hoping to do differently? Because they've not been successful downstairs so far.
I think BDS, the first time they defended it, they had much more of a roam presence, and it was able to stall out NIP. One thing that you've highlighted a lot is NIP are a very slow attacking side. If you can put any wrench into the working mechanism that is NIP, it will gunk them down heavily. So I think if BDS, they can try and waste as much time as they can, it would be a lot better for them. They haven't decided to do that. They have went just for the simple turtle technique where you just sit in the site and hope for the best. NIP have clocked on, they see nobody has came up above, they are straight into the building, everything covered off, everything being opened up, and they have so much time to play with. If you give NIP the time to set up their executes, they're a terrifying team.
I saw the mute and I was immediately looking for the Mozzie. I was thinking, are BDS just going to say, right, yeah, we are going to give you the roam game to play into and we're going to try and waste as much of your time as possible, but it isn't something that we saw. Already early pressure and 2 kills for NIP. Muzi and Julio picking up 1 apiece. Shaiko and Renshiro both shut on down. Alems, he's able to rotate his way back on in, but Muzi still looking to pressure and threaten down this blue corridor. He's able to put some pre-fire shots on, but he isn't able to connect just as of yet. There's still a minute left, so there is an eternity in this round for these defenders to stave off the push, especially with such a significant man advantage. Rafal is unlikely to be able to make use of any of those yokai drones, as I imagine the pressure is just going to be a little bit too much, as Julio now starts to open the triple wall. Looking to gain some more information and some more angles. Of course, gives Rafal an opportunity to try and peek on through. He's going to dish some shots out, but shots come back in return. Now Rafal's in a pretty tough spot. He's going to get flashed out and taken down there by Psycho. The pinch and the push coming in from NIP, and Bride in the 1 versus 5. He's inside a dirt tunnel, and I think Muzi knows exactly where he is. A plant is being attempted. There's control of Kitchen Hatch. There's everything going for NIP. A flawless round to close out Clubhouse here, as we're going all the way.
You give NIP the time to set up their takes and watch the chaos ensue against the defenders. NIP, they got it together. They figured out the issue, which was how quick they were setting up their attacks. They dealt with that, and bang, they win a map.
13-5 for Muzi, 10-6 for Pino. Some massive performances coming in there from NIP. Experts, please break this one down for us.
Thank you very much, Draka and Demo. And yeah, this is a hell of a way to start off our playoffs day, I have to say, between these 2 squads at one another's necks, especially now on Clubhouse, a map that both teams have had tons of success on, but NIP victorious. Incredible.
It is definitely, yeah, and it felt like a bit of a reverse of what BDS was able to pull off on Coastline, right? The first 4 rounds go in NIP's way, and then we're like, ooh, that might actually be a very solid start from them. But of course, you know, BDS was able to bring it back just a little bit, but at the moment they equalized the scoreline, NIP was able to run away with it completely.
As they said it on the on the cast, even as soon as we started to see the structure from NIP, as soon as we started to see them get that handle, it was the same thing that befell BDS when they were playing against Empire. Is that control? They just couldn't quite find a way to get a grip on it. NIP found some pace, which they needed. And it's just, yeah, as soon as it started to fall a little bit into their hands, you could see that they were struggling to just try and claw back some of that control or some of that space.
The Monty ban did not help at all. NIP didn't even need the Montagne. All they had to do was lock down BDS. BDS looked predictable in this game versus NIP. That's not something you can usually say about BDS.
It's not just that, but I praised them beforehand and how quickly they get the CCTV wall open, and then you're watching it and they're struggling with the Maverick, and it takes a minute, and it takes a little bit more, and you're like, what happened? Like, what has changed? Because normally we're used to seeing them opening it up within like 30 seconds, and then they go on from there. But they were struggling themselves on their attacks, and that is something that is not really BDS-like.
What's NIP's mojo in this one?
Not wanting to go down to the lower bracket, not wanting to be in that tricky situation. They don't want to have to do that other run, and they, as I said, at the end of the last map on Coastline, they started to pick things up. They started to get themselves tuned in. If they didn't have that big deficit at the beginning, we might have seen them be able to go a little bit more of a stretch. But the way it kind of crumbled was Coastline was cut off before they could get their roll on. They carried that momentum through into Club. They carried that pace in. I said the big worry is if they can't quite find themselves getting into sight and getting the pressure, they have to have this momentum from their defense. They did, and that just kind of swung them on.
That was map 2 Clubhouse, of course. Now map 3 Consulate is where we will direct our attention to. As a reminder, the big story for this matchup, NIP faced BDS at 6 Invitational 2020 last February, even the one before, if you can even imagine life in 2020. Who would have thought? That was the last time these two last fought. NIP came out on top and eventually became runners-up only by a hair at SI 2020. Can BDS stop them on Consulate?
They have no other choice. I mean, it's a curious one, looking over Consulate and how it's sort of been a bit of a play. We haven't seen it too much from BDS. We haven't seen it from the tournament. We've seen it once in the hands of NIP, and they weren't able to take it. So it becomes this sort of tough situation because you're up against, they lost it to TSM, and TSM and BDS have a lot of similarities in terms of they have these huge potential players who can have these pop-off moments and pop-off games. They can also take momentum when they need to, which BDS struggled with in Club. But if they get that early start, as I talked about before, you know, we have to see NIP trying to match what BDS can give. I think this is still in BDS's favor.
I went through it a little bit deeper again, and historically I see 5 times Consulate over the last 8 months or something with a 60% win rate. But keep in mind, French League and European League included in this sample, so it's going to be really hard to tell how that is going to be translating to the interregional matchup. But I think, like, this might be decided by some odd bands, right? Because Consulate is a repel map, we often say. Like you see in European League, there's a lot of drones always coming in, pings come out, and then somewhere from any repel on that map, a shot will come through. Now, BDS thought they bested NIP with the multi-ban, but that turned out to not go really according to plan. So I'm wondering now, are they going to stick that, or are they going to be going for something completely else?
What's the BDS X factor on Consulate?
I mean,
Aiko hasn't been showing up. I don't know, man.
I know
what sort of X factor you can play here.
It's very tough. Well, the thing is, yeah, Renshiro struggled as well.
Yeah.
And if you throw your mind back towards the beginning of this game, Renshiro on a window on Consulate was terrifying.
He literally sits on a window for the past 5 years of competitive Rainbow Six.
And Consulate is all windows.
It's
all the way through. You could take sites without ever having to enter the room. That's Consulate. But That's BDS on their day, and this is BDS that's struggling. They can't quite find the momentum. You're seeing them being a bit passive. They're not quite hitting that aggression. They're not quite hitting the mark that we expect and we usually see from them. And I think that's the big problem right now is, you know, if they can't quite get their heads round, this is the same thing that allowed NIP to be able to do their amazing lower bracket run before. The energy that that team brings to the big stage, to the major positions, it's tough to match. But you have to try.
It's another option. Otherwise, you're going down to the lower bracket. So BDS and NIP both have to show up right now. It is a 1-1. It's basically like that match point overtime, and it's 7-7, and it's whoever's round to take. That's basically what we're in here with maps.
OT map 3 or not?
I would love to see an OT. I would love to see it to go all the way to 15 rounds and then decide who takes it home.
So, who do you think will take it home?
It's tough because they're sat either side of the analyst desk. If I could whisper, maybe.
You may.
Maybe. I might write it down and then reveal it later. I mean, as I said, I think the momentum could be in BDS's favor in terms of the map, but I think the player energy of NIP is a little bit high right now. If that is matched from BDS, it's theirs. If they find themselves losing a couple of the early rounds as we saw them do on that map, then they're in a bit of a tough spot.
You agree?
I think Renshiro and Shaiko both have to show up. Renshiro had a good first map, a little bit less so during the second, so if he can come back up to speed, and if Shaiko wakes up and finds the kills that he needs to have to elevate himself in the matchup, then it should be a BDS map. But otherwise, it will be NIP.
I can't wait to see this one. Who can keep whom for this one? A big rematch from 6th Invitational 2020. Hap, thank you so much. We're going to go for a quick commercial break, and when we're back, it'll be Extra Troika and Demo awaiting us on the analyst desk. We're going to go to Consulate and stamp out some visas. Let's see who can survive the upper bracket. See you in a bit.
What does it take to create a secure community? Join us on the second episode of I Call Next as we discover how to protect what's most important and enable worry-free play.
Hello everybody and welcome back. Thanks for bearing with us during that short break. We are of course back with map number 3 here between BDS and NIP. So far we have seen Coastline, we have seen Clubhouse, both teams gaining 1 map apiece. NIP coming in off a pretty hot win on side of Clubhouse, I think it's fair to say. And now we move into Consulate.
Consulate, well, who expected to get here? I'll say I didn't. I thought it was going to be a TO, especially after BDS taking Coastline, but no, Clubhouse. NIP coming out and winning that map is a real credit to them. I think, Ollie, we've seen it many times, the team loses their map pick and the mental goes. The mental's chalked. But no, NIP push on and they get that win.
Yeah, either team picking up wins on either one's map. All not too uncommon inside of a best of 3, but still something worth noting here. I always have a sneaking suspicion inside of best of 3s, and it's something that tends to ring true. The team that wins map number 2 wins the whole thing. Now, I understand that that can be a little bit flawed logic, because if a team wins map 1, of course, if they win map 2, they're going to win the whole thing. But the team that comes back, picking up that second map, takes us to all 3, it means it's a long journey for the team that won that map number 1. That team, of course, was BDS, and NIP coming in off a hot win. Now we head to Consulate.
Oh, Consulate, this map. A lot of teams go here over the course of the group stage, and, well, we're seeing it once again inside of the best of 3s. There was that big debate that a lot of players were saying, oh, it's a best of 1, nobody plays Consulate inside of a best of 3. Well, burst the bubble. What are we seeing? A Consulate pick. Well, it wasn't a pick, but it's left open anyway.
A map that both teams are happy to play on.
Yes,
Typically,
yes.
The decider is that such a map. It makes sense, you know, if it's a map we see inside of best of 1s, it's likely going to be the map that you see as the decider inside of a best of 3. Both teams happy to go here. Thatcher and Nomad being removed. BDS coming back with the Wamai ban. There's so many important and crucial zones here on Consulate that you can imagine NIP would want to deploy that same setup, the classic ADSs, shield, Wamai disc, you name it, you know, top of yellow stairs, etc.
So, BDS did not play Consulate during the group stages. They stayed away from this map. They did not play it. Now it's coming out. We have seen NIP play it. They played it against TSM, I think. I think it was 7-2. So, a very dominant performance from TSM against NIP on this map. I wonder how much information NIP have on BDS on this map. The last time we seen them play it was against, I think it was Virtus Pro back in EUL, Stage 1. And they lost that 7-2. So the last time either side had played Consulate, it was a loss.
Well, for one of the teams, they're going to have to win it today now, because we do not have anything left after this map for these.
It's not a best of 5? Are you sure?
Best of 5. It's not unlimited overtime. It is said and done over in the here and now on Consulate. And we're going to be heading right on in there. NIP starting off on the defense. They're going to choose to go to Garage first. Looking to get this site locked off. Now, Garage is a site that we either see a lot of or we do not see at all. With Cade being open, it lays claim to the fact that Garage is potentially a little bit more defendable, as we do have the ability to, you know, Electroclaw the triple Garage wall. There's the ability then to play in upstairs as well. And that's something that NIP are going to do both of. Pino going to be playing upstairs inside a bathroom. Julio going to be playing down inside of Garage. Now, that Electroclaw is very interesting. We saw the Electroclaw there get placed underneath on the roof of the Garage, and it's actually enough to get the hatch inside a bathroom. 2 things intrigue me about that. 1, I really like the placement. 2, typically you play with that hatch soft so that the mute can shotgun it open and drop down if required. Now that tells me that Pino's playing there with his life.
Yeah, we see usually a heavy roam presence for a lot of teams, especially for the Garage. You cannot afford to give up early control of the piano. Piano is everything for attackers. If you have control of that, you can utilize the verticality that you have at your disposal. For this certain set of operators, it would be the sledge we're looking for to get in, use the sledgehammer, open up as many angles as you can. As soon as that piano control falls in favor of attackers, you need to clear out a Garage quick. There is no safe position that you can sit in that you will not get picked off from. So, yeah, definitely for NIP, their whole plan is defend that piano. Do not give BDS any map control. BDS, they've already opened up the main breach, and one thing that could happen is potential BDS rush. We see that a few times, I think, for the garage, is teams will just walk in.
Quite possibly. Time continuing to tick, and with the players stacked up outside of garage, it looks like that could be an increasing likelihood. We've got quite a lot to get through, though. Kamikaze in a really good position to toss out some Toxic Babe canisters. Pressure that's coming on in is kind of slight. There's nothing really from BDS. They're not giving the game away all too much. Just going to be droning out and trying to gain as much intel as you can. You can see the drones moving underneath the white van. They're going to be searching out for any pieces of utility. We're going to get the other side of the garage wall opened as well. Now, Pino's actually got a nice vertical angle here that he might be able to take advantage of. Lems is going to be inside of Piano, looking to open up that floor and cut off any defenders from being able to be in a position to try and deny the plant. Bride is going to go for the plant, but he's in fact going to get down straight away. The Toxic Babe canister and Julio coming in there to shut him down. There's going to be a phone call ringing on out, so all the defenders are going to be alerted, but Shaiko pushes his way all the way on through. Can he win the gunfight? No, does get taken out. Shiro's grabbed the diffuser, but it's not going to be enough. Kamikaze able to find two as he shuts two players down on yellow stairs. Lems from above in the 1 versus 3 takes down Pino, but a Toxic Babe canister is going to cut him off. He still has 30 seconds to work with. The diffuser cold at the front of white van. How much information has Lems got in this moment? He is going to be able to recover the diffuser and look to push on through a little bit more aggressively. Feels like he's getting spotted out there as he's looking up and seeing if there is any pieces of utility. Julio with the final swing as Lems inevitably meets his end. NIP, a great defense there of Garage.
Great start for NIP. BDS grasping at straws perhaps a little bit. Don't know if I agree with immediately looking to go for the plant. On that bomb site, if you have a smoke sat in pipes in that position with the shield, you're not planting. The smoke canister goes out. Bride could not get off the plant quick enough. It feeds that information. Like, keep in mind, that deployable shield in that position, of course it's there to protect the smoke, but it is also there to give out information. He's able to count how many people run in, and you can feed that information back to your side. Just overall, I don't think that was the greatest attempt from BDS. I think they can do a lot better. I wonder if Shaiko was able to pick up the kill onto the smoke. Would that have changed the round? Potentially. No one knows. But for the here and now, NIP holding it down, round 1 in their favor.
Being able to pick up an early defense here on Consulate is good as well, as it's a map that has opportunity for the attack. You know, if that plant goes down and you've got such a man count advantage, it can, you know, it doesn't matter how many defenders you've got, you can really easily keep hold of that from outside. And that plant spot that Bride was going for, the default in front of white van, is very easy to hold from the outside. The problem is, Demo, as you rightly say, it is very predictable. And NIP were more than ready to deal with that. Gives them a nice early start here.
Right, NIP on the top floor, and one operator that has managed to sneak past the banning phase is Valkyrie. I cannot remember the last time I seen Valkyrie up on Consulate. She is terrifying. So, if you don't know why Valkyrie is so strong, if you look at the shape of the building, it is a rectangle. So that means if you put one Valkyrie camera on one corner of the map, you cover 2 sides. The information you can gain from outside cameras is incredible, and that's why she has such a high ban rate on Consulate.
Pino already showcasing those cameras and showing us what he has got. Oh, he doesn't know how close he is there.
Windows, I think.
Just prepping to see if there's anything that he can maybe run out and jump out on at a later time. Shaiko going to get rid of the Banshee on the desk, but the Clash is going to cause him some problems. Kamikaze playing on the Clash. 2 pests on the window as well, so any drones that get tossed on in are immediately going to get captured and removed. Still plenty of drone work going on from BDS as they don't really want to commit just yet.
Shaiko up against the Clash, and I think the Clash pick for NIP, in hindsight, I think it's a good pick because it gives information, which is something that has definitely taken NIP by storm, is their information gathering, and that Valkyrie camera to give the kill is definitely one that they needed. Lems has fully yellow control, though. That has been an area that has been left untouched by NIP, and Lems instead of bathroom now. This is something that we do not see every day, is immediate control off that yellow stairs. Given over, and even Shaiko finds the kill on the Kamikaze via the stuns that have been dished out by her and Shiro.
Kamikaze getting cut down there as he got forced and pushed into the corner. And with Alems having so much control of yellow, he's able to get some good chip damage onto a lot of these defenders.
He could easily plant.
Bit of a rotation is required here from NIP. We've still got Psycho playing inside of Cubby. There's going to be a run out there attempted, but Renshiro going to shut down Julio. The Psycho will find the frag over onto Alems. That now alleviates a lot of the pressure that was coming in, and Psycho can look to try and take out players that are coming in on the rappel. Finds one, but does inevitably get downed there by Shaiko. The diffuser going to be beneath Shaiko. He could choose to try and recover that now, but Pino has instead got other ideas. He's going to be on the flank, making his way up these yellow stairs. He knows that there's a player about to hop on in. Pre-fires exchange from both sides. As we're locked into an equal 2 versus 2, Pino with a confident swing there, as he still has plenty of information, but Shaiko's been allowed to make his way to long desk. He's now inside a bathroom. He's showing up here, but Pino shuts him down. It's now a 1 versus 1. Pino versus Renshiro. Red ping as to the location of Renshiro's whereabouts. All is necessary is a pre-fire, but Renshiro's better. Swings and flicks, finds the headshot onto Pino.
How has he pulled off that kill there? Not even looking at him, then just a quick little transition. Wow, and that was very important. Shaiko, as well as he did, he forgot the diffuser. He did not grab it. It was outside from previously, and from the previous swinging that they went for. Yeah, I don't know. BDS were very lucky to pull off that round win. It was a great execute, albeit onto the clash. I think that was a great highlight for them, and that was what we missed. Julio. Question marks.
There is question marks on that, especially with how much information there was available outside. Why Julio is going for a look. You know, you don't really want to get caught going for a look here. If you're going to jump out, it needs to be pretty much guaranteed that you're going to be able to gain that frag. Shaiko did a magical job there of getting himself in, alongside Alems as well. I know that Alems got taken out, but the information that Alems gathered and the fact that nobody from the side of NIP then retook that bathroom or yellow stairs area, it just gave Shaiko so much room to play with.
Yeah, I was surprised the lack of yellow stairs control. I think that was definitely a big thing that we're not used to seeing. I think yellow stairs is everything. We see smokes, mutes, ADSs, of course, usually being placed up, but there was nothing there. It was easy control, probably the easiest yellow stairs take I've ever seen in my life.
Take your pick. Dock, smoke, clash. You know, whatever you want to try and throw at that, you are able to. Now, is it a question that because BDS banned Wamai, NIP aren't as comfortable in their yellow stairs hold because they've only going to have ADSs to play with, they're going to have maybe some laser gates that they can put up, but ultimately they're not going to have all too much and it's quite easily burnt through. Perhaps. But I don't think you can afford to just give up that and bathroom control in its entirety like they did. We are just experiencing a short rehost here as the players are going to make their way back on into the lobby. So far, good opening round from NIP. Great response from BDS. They need to come out strong inside of this one because I feel like the momentum is in the hands of NIP at the moment.
It would be interesting to see if they choose to go upstairs again. Because there is other bomb sites. We see Lobby a lot. I think Split Bomb Site has really came into its own. I see a lot of teams playing that now. A really nice site for defenders. But in terms of the top floor, the attack that BDS went for was your standard run-of-the-mill office take. Moving towards office, yellow stairs is a difficult thing. Really, you're only attacking that top floor 2 ways. You either go from yellow and in towards office, or you go from admin. That's the 2 ways you attack it. There's nothing else that you can really do. Differences between both takes is usually getting set up in a position to take yellow stairs is extremely difficult for attackers. Whereas if you look at admin, very easy to take control of. So you kind of afford, it's a difficult setup for the console, but an easier setup for admin, and a much more easier plant for office compared to a much more difficult plant for meeting. Pros and cons to both.
BDS just giving us a really good CO side take, so I imagine that they're going to mix things up next time. Maybe they go and do a little bit of admin and really keep NIP guessing. I think had NIP known that that was the take that they were going to go for, you maybe think twice about the Clash pick. I feel like Clash has a bit more value inside of that admin area. You know, sure, there's a lot of crossfires and stuff there, but you can just harass and you can just make it so that it's not as easy to push on through.
Yeah, like you said, crossfires, there's a lot of them in Consulate, and I think that's kind of where Clash can get left out. Where there is so many different angles you have to watch out for, it's a bit difficult if you only have a 180-degree area that you can protect yourself from.
We are seeing a switch up here. Preston Lobby going to be the chosen side.
I think that's the right call.
Does Julio stick the alibi?
No. He 6 picks it.
You got it right.
I seen him 6-pick it before you.
Oh, you joking.
I cheated!
Well, we aren't going to see any Alibi this round, but what we are going to see is a Mute and Mozzie combo. Recognizing just how well BDS drone and gather that information and see holes in the defense. NIP are going, we don't really want to be dealing with that. We're going to try and eat up as much as possible. They did bring the Mute Mozzie in the last round as well, but it didn't have as much of an impact.
Yeah, top floor, there isn't too much roam presence. Only thing you'd ever roam for is if you want to have downstairs control for C4s. I think for this site in particular, you need to try and hold above. Again, same thing as what I said about the garage, is you have to have upstairs. There's so much verticality on Consulate, so much wooden flooring. That kind of stays true as well to Piano, which has kind of been like the area that a lot of teams are actually going for these days, rather than the classic plant at the double door inside of Circle Desk. A lot of teams are actually using the repels and pressuring towards Piano. If you can hold above with some angles and clear it out with the sledge, it can be a great position. We see a lot of teams actually go in for the plant, keep one guy above, sledge above the diffuser, and there is no chance a defender is retaking that.
BDS going to look to try and make their way on through. Top floor control is crucial here. Pino once again with his cameras outside, able to ping out any intel that he finds. Rafal's responded this time. Another adaptation that we've seen from BDS is they've gone, these Valkyrie cameras are getting played every single round. We need to find them. Rafal has picked IQ and is going to be able to search those out on IQ's scanner. It does eat up a little bit of time, and you do have to get within range to be able to find those cameras, and some of the cameras can be thrown quite a good distance away from the building, so it can be a case of, you know, almost doing laps. But I think Pino is going to just discover that one of them has been removed as he tries to jump on into it.
BDS have their foot in the door in terms of what they want to take control of. That will be the top floor. Yellow is a great way to kind of cut off a lot of angles, and Julio times the C4 to perfection, and Shaiko is gone. Big player off the boards, and that really gets NIP into a great position. Without that main entry of Shaiko for BDS, they're going to lack a lot of the top floor pressure. Right now, they would have had two men just pushing in. It would have been Alams and Shaiko. Alams, again, would have been here using the sledge, and then Shaiko would have been in a little bit deeper trying to cover him. Just stop anyone from pushing, Alams, should I say. So, yeah, I think losing that player, it's really going to cost them, and now that means that Bride has to come above.
It puts more pressure on the roam game clearing. It certainly puts more pressure on Renshiro's lifeline as well. You know, you lose out on the breaching rounds. You're not able to deal with things as effectively. Julio there with the almost one pump onto Alems. It just required a second to finish him off. 2 kills there going in favor of NIP. Pino going to be playing upstairs in copy as well. Not sure if Rafal knows this, as Rafal is actually going to be on Spiral. Pino going to choose his time to strike quite wisely here, as Julio's putting some shots in on the reverse vertical, but eventually will get taken down as 2 quick kills come in here from BDS. This is crucial stuff. Muzi down in the site as well. Puts a lot of pressure onto Psycho and Kamikaze now, as Rafal can look to progress down this spiral staircase. Just looking to hold angles as he goes. Psycho maybe going to go for a bit of a retake of the top floor here. Breedy going to try and get the diffuser down. How much intel does Renshiro have? He's conscious that he's trying to cover the plant, but he knows that he's also getting pushed as well. Renshiro with the finishing kill over onto Psycho. He's going to leave Kamikaze in the 1 versus 3. He knows where the diffuser's down, but the SMG isn't too kind at those kind of ranges. Breedy plants the kill, will secure the round for BDS.
Oh, I liked what NIP were doing to try and pull it back, but no, just was not enough. The timing for Renshiro on that lifeline was impeccable. You could not want a better lifeline in that scenario. It gives him the information, it kind of backs the defender away, and then from there he can get himself in a better position to cover from above, and he did just that. Again, NIP, similar story to Coastline. 2 opening picks, and then they lose the round. Very, very strange. I don't know if they have that man advantage and they think, oh, we can just kill them. No, just don't try and force your hand as much as you already have so far. Having those 2 opening picks is massive, and then they just start dropping like flies with very little refrag potential.
Got 2 opening picks, but they lost top floor control. And that was the crucial part there, is that they didn't maintain control of that top floor. Julio maybe getting a little bit too over-aggressive. You can see it there on Pino's face. He's not happy with the way that round's gone. That's the face of a guy that knows we can't afford to be losing a 5 versus 3.
BDS will punish you. That is the kind of team that they are. If you give BDS an inch to recover, they will do so. You have to always keep on top of BDS and do not give them anything. What you take from them, do not give it back. Run away with it. I think that's probably the best advice I can give NIP, is if they have those 2 opening picks, just go. Just leave. Go back in sight, hold angles, set up crossfires, and BDS will not do anything. BDS are a good team, but there is nobody who can consistently win 1 versus 2 gunfights. You cannot do that.
Yeah, 5v3 should be not a rarity, but they shouldn't be as common as we've seen them be so far throughout this series for BDS. Oh, beautiful C4 from Psycho.
That's unfortunate.
It's just going to clip the frame of the window.
Yeah, that's a tricky one, Ollie, because you can literally just throw it right out and it'll actually land on the ground beside whoever's repelling. Very scary. And watch out for that, Ollie, whenever you're playing Siege. Watch yourself.
I'm not sure that we've got C4 throwers of that sort of ilk inside of my games demo, I'm afraid.
Again, same setup as well from NIP. They have that shield in towards pipes. I think BDS this time around, Ollie, they've realized that, and they're going to try and change it up. They're not going to try and force their way in through the triple wall. They're going to go for the room clear, which I think is a lot better of a decision.
Ranchero going to drone out Julio here. He's going to gather that information now. Does he know? Does he suspect the C4? Oh, Julio didn't have the required information. Alems takes down Muzi.
Hold on a minute.
Opening frag going in favor of BDS. It is responded to, as Alems will get himself taken down, but eventually Julio is shut down inside of Archives there, and a bit of a backside push can come through here. Shaiko takes loads of damage. You've got to get in. You've got to find the frag. He does. He shuts down Kamikaze. 3 versus 2 now as Pino. He's going to be flanking as well, so the flankers being flanked now, but Shaiko with the turnaround finds the frag over onto Pino. Bride doing what he does best, trying to confirm that plant. Psycho inside of the 1 versus 3. Very doable for him here, especially now that he's been able to pick up the first one. 1 versus 2 now. As he looks to push on through. Bride playing directly on the plant, but Psycho shuts him down, able to get himself on. Is he going to try and stick this? Where is Rafal? Why is Rafal not pushing? Psycho does come off momentarily. There's still a little bit of time to play with here, but you've got to be conscious of that 7-second timer. Rafal shuts him down. Psycho gets taken out there. Unfortunate stuff. I get the feeling if he sticks that disable, he probably gets away with it there.
So one thing that I don't know if you picked up on, Ollie, the IQ was using her scanner to see if he was diffusing. You can see that. You can see the person with the gadget out, and he was scanning for it.
I understand that, and I appreciate it. The way that I see that going is the diffuser, disabling that diffuser, that bar was getting pretty full. And it genuinely looked as though, especially with the plant position, taking mine kind of behind the fridge, a little bit of an awkward angle, it's a direct right angle to challenge onto. I feel like Psycho probably gets away with that one.
It's a tough one, but Rafal needed to win that round, and BDS starting to pull away 2 rounds in front. They needed that. So BDS completely changes their entire dynamic of how they attacked the garage the last time. They went for a backside take. They got the opening pick. They knew there was one man cut off from his entire team inside of Archives. They targeted him. They hit him hard and fast. They got that kill. And from there, they thought, hey, let's just overwhelm them. We have the man advantage. And they did just that. A lack of players on site for NIP.
NIP move upstairs now. We've seen a very plant-focused game come out from BDS. There's been attempts in every single round so far. You know, you think back to round number 1, Bride was trying to get it down at the front of White Van. We've seen 2 successful rounds in the last 2, so 2 successful plants in the last 2 rounds. And the only site that we maybe didn't see a plant coming down on was the last time we were upstairs here, as the diffuser was cold on the ground. And it just came down to kills, which is something that fortunately for BDS, Shaiko can do.
If he feels like it.
How's he lost half of his health already, though?
Spawn peaks, because it's Consulate, of course the spawn peaks always come in. IQ pick, of course, there for the potential Valkyrie cameras, but I mean, still a nice kind of necessity to have for the yellow take. You can bring that IQ, find out how many ADSs are stacked up, and at the moment, they'll probably be looking at it and thinking, hey, there are none. We can just completely blitz this clash, and talking about blitz, the C4 comes out of nowhere and blitzkriegs Bride right in the face.
Pino's been using those cameras and he's been a nuisance on them. Rafal wasn't able to find that one out. A nade thrown as an impact will deal a good chunk of damage into Pino. Second nade coming on in and won't be so successful. It's a lot of utility to use there when you've got a clash, and the clash is now defending on yellow stairs.
Pocket Valcam as well, Ollie. Bit of a signature, and that immediately gets destroyed. Maybe why we don't see Pocket Valcams, because you can hear them being tossed out and landing on a surface. Oh, Psycho against an upside-down rappel and trying to find the head, and no, misses his shots, and Shaiko will punish him. Oh, he almost had it there, Ollie. He should have had it.
It's a brave challenge to be going on, you know, challenging anybody on the upside-down rappel, but then challenging Ash, challenge Shaiko, it's usually going to end one way. Renshiro picks off Pino as well, so it gives an advantage for BDS for the time being. Shaiko's actually got himself on into sight and is looking to try and pressure Clash a little bit. Muzi shuts Renshiro down as Renshiro was switching into the lifeline there, trying to aid and assist Shaiko in dealing with the Clash. However, the Clash will be alive for another day, but Shaiko will not, as Muzi takes him on down. The scrappy gunfights ensuing here. LM's left in the 1 versus 3 against a Clash, never a position you really want to be in. Clash able to zap and call out and give direct pings as to LM's whereabouts, and he's probably not going to get close enough to the Clash to be able to do anything about this. Default camera still up as well, does manage to get some shots in and shut him down, but the covering fire is there. Trades galore here for NIP as they respond with another defensive round.
They were on him, weren't they? Straight away. Not giving him that clutch potential. As soon as that mag dump went into the Clash, they knew, hey, he's out of ammo. Let's spray and hope for the best. BDS having a really good start. Having that kind of lead as they were going in for their office plant. But one crucial factor, I think, changed the entire dynamic. It had to come from Muzi, I think. I think Muzi being able to have that swing onto Renshiro, this kill right here was so important. The right moment, right time, everything working for them. Shaiko then loses his hype man from behind him. He has no cover in the window. Shaiko, really difficult position, pushing in, 50-50, could have went left, could have went right, into connector he went, got killed. It's a very difficult round for BDS. That's going to be a tough one for them to swallow.
It really will. BDS are going to make another adjustment here, as Rafal has been playing the IQ. He's been trying to find out these cameras, but consistently we have seen the cameras working for Psycho. Yep. He's able to circumvent this IQ in whatever way, and I think it's just because there's so much pressure elsewhere.
So difficult.
IQ hasn't got the time to just go around and look at every single palm tree or every single wall. There's a lot of them as well. There's a lot of palm trees here, there's a lot of bushes, there's a lot of places to hide these cameras.
Interesting stat, wouldn't it? Let's see, someone give us a stat, at me and Ollie on Twitter, how many trees are on Consulate? We would love to know for anyone out there. But, as you said, IQ being sacked off, we see a Ying. Ying, big, impactful operator, can completely change the outcome of a round. You throw those Candelas into a hotly contested area such as Garage, mayhem. Mayhem, Ollie.
It could be, and this is where we may see more of the rush strategy come out from BDS.
I think they'll go for it this time as well.
It's the last attacking round that they've got of this phase. We're kind of seeing it shape up right now. All we're missing is the Ying outside of that breach. It's going to get opened for the time being as plenty of drones go in to gather that information. Shaiko able to destroy a couple of pieces of utility as well.
Right from Shaiko,
namely
that's phenomenal.
Lucy Banshees, but Muzi, he's going to be in position to strike. But he wishes he was there a couple of seconds earlier, but he will in fact be droned out now and unable to challenge.
So BDS, they've cleared out most of the utility. The only thing that they haven't cleared out is Kamikaze. The way I think they're going to be able to deal with him is simply by throwing a Candela in his direction. Shaiko actually getting a little bit aggressive, pushing down yellow. Still a little bit cautious, though. There could be somebody else flanking. And Kamikaze has went for a challenge when Shiro has punished him. Kamikaze, you didn't need to leave your position. And now that may cost NIP. They're missing out on the smoke. They're missing out on the man at pipes. And right now for Team BDS, everything is going in their favor.
It was a power position to give away there. The Candelas are going to come in under the cover of smoke. Bride going to try and get that plan down as the covering fire is there. Shaiko finds one, but Julio responds. The diffuser is confirmed, and now BDS can retreat outside. 3 versus 3, but don't be deluded. That is a very difficult scoreline to come back against here. NIP now have to try and retake. Psycho going to make a full rotation upstairs. These are seconds that NIP may not have here. He's going to try and get some shots down, at least put some pressure onto the player inevitably playing outside, trying to cover that plant. Brede takes down Pino. C4 will come in and grab her down, but Brede gets himself a second. Psycho, he has to go massive here. He's 1 versus 2. There's 10 seconds left. It's not going to be enough. Brede does it all in the post plant.
Wow, BDS executing onto that. As soon as they got that defuse down, the round was over. That retake is incredibly difficult for any defender. A lot of good things for BDS that round. Shaiko, being able to pick apart the different bits of utility was incredible. Just jiggle peeking in with the breaching rounds, clearing out the Banshees. This right here from Kamikaze, that is the moment that they lost the round. I don't know what he was thinking. Perhaps he got a call from another teammate saying, hey, let's double push this guy in yellow. Shaiko was extremely smart at baiting out the push. Everything, I think Shaiko made that round. But yeah, Kamikaze dying, that was it. He didn't need to move. He still had his shield intact, he had the Toxic Babes, and as soon as you lose that smoke at that time frame, in that position, you're done.
Very difficult for NIP to try and come back and retake that round. It puts a 4-2 split in the hands of BDS here. NIP need to come up with the goods here on their attacking phase. They can't afford to get themselves too far behind. This time though, Demo, Monty's available.
He is.
Could we see the Monty effect?
I don't think Monty is as strong as an operator on Consulate compared to what we've seen kind of develop in Coastline. A lot more window play, which kind of deters shield play. You know, if you're on a window as a Monty, you have your pistol and you don't have your shield, so it's not going to be much use to you. Of course, you still can get the odd bit of usage out of him in terms of pushing up yellow, for example. But I also think because there's so many C4s in Consulate as well, a lot more destructible flooring, it definitely sets the kind of fear of, hey, I could be killed at any moment from below.
We'll have to see if NIP feel it necessary to pull out the Monty, as they often do when they need rounds. Haven't had the best of defensive phases, and they need to try and make these attacking rounds count here. They're going to be attacking upstairs. When we saw NIP start, they started us off downstairs in the garage, but BDS, they're going for something a little bit different, a little bit fresh. They're going to take us upstairs to console, and it looks to be an admin-sided push that's shaping up here. Oh, but look at that for siege timing. So unfortunate for poor old Alems.
Yeah, Alems is thinking, why always me? Yeah, NIP looking for an admin take. They have the 0. That'll be a bit of like a soft replacement for Nomad. Of course, Nomad is extremely, extremely strong on a map like Consulate. BDS have banned that out. You're expecting to see a lot of flanks, a lot of jump outs from that side. 0 can kind of be used in the same fashion. Most of the time, we will see Nomads be used as flight protection. Equally, a camera can be used as well. So they're bringing that just in case. Also, of course, we know 0's a great operator for finding information inside the bomb site. You can fire them through a wall, and you'll be able to pick up as much info as you need.
And you get a little Twitch droney kind of feature
as
well.
You can eliminate an ADS here or there, whatever it is.
Very versatile. There is a lot of information here for Renshiro. He's got a couple of pings to be dealing with. Julio going in and able to ping out a lot of the information as well on the Z ping. Psycho going to be at the top of the stairs here, looking to just keep an angle onto Connector, waiting for somebody to push. At the minute, no one on the side of BDS is feeling much of a reason to, though. They don't need to be moving all too much in this regard. There's one Argus Cam just going out there to lock off anybody from running out of the main double door downstairs. Circle desk. Rafal opens things up with a kill over onto Muzi. Psycho does manage to get one back as a straight trade, keeping everything nice and even for the time being. I worry, Demo, about the lack of presence over on this west side. It's a very one-dimensional push here from NIP, and there's still vertical to worry about. Nobody has given any thought to Renshiro.
I think they need connector control as well, which is what they don't have, and you're allowing Shaiko just to quick peek you all day long. Kamikaze will now go in for the plan, and this is where BDS have to try and jump onto it. They will clear him out. A C4 lands from Renshiro. 2 massive kills, and now NIP up against it. Both of them towards the balcony, both jumping in and getting slaughtered as they do so. Pina will try his best. He eliminates one, but will not find Alems. BDS is easy as you like, holding it down. That is your typical defense for the meeting.
it wasn't even that the attack came down to a lack of time there for NIP. There was just a lack of map presence. We saw nothing on Yellow Stairs.
Nobody was cleared out.
Nothing inside a connector. Nobody on West Rappel. It was very one-dimensional, and you can't afford to do that. The amount of crossfires there that BDS had set up, because guess what? They were allowed a player inside a bathroom. They were allowed a player inside a connector. They were allowed a player inside a long desk. Nothing.
You need that connector window under control. Not only does it shut down Shaiko in that position, but it also shuts down Bride in bathroom. He cannot push out. That window will cut off that angle. Connector is a very, very important position that you need to hold, and it is very difficult for defenders to try and hold. As we've seen, they set up appropriately in case there was any jump outs. They had the cameras downstairs. They were ready, expecting that. But yeah, I just don't know why there wasn't anyone in Connector.
A tough round there for NIP, a bitter pill to swallow, especially as that puts Team BDS on to 5 rounds. One away from a match and a series point here in our third and final map. The momentum has shifted once again, and everything looks to be going in BDS's favour. This time a small change on the side of NIP is that they've chosen to bring a Jackal. Maybe conscious of that vertical presence, and Renshiro in the previous round, certainly a player that's worth highlighting here. 8-2 demo.
He is obviously we talk about, you know, the right hand of God. He's the left hand of God, of course, being notable for being one of the only left-handed players that we have. But Renshiro has always been just a standout player for EU as a region. This is a very long time serving member of French teams. You think back to his days at Millennium. He goes very, very far back inside of Siege. And I think for Renshiro, one thing he has never been able to accomplish is win a major tournament.
NIP just looking to gain and gather information on this top floor, as that's going to be their primary focus here. Muzi does get himself on in quite quickly into Connector. Julio, no doubt, will swiftly follow, maybe getting himself into Console, as the Jackal is going to be required really to gain any information as to those footprints. I do believe there's a player inside of Admin though, which could be a little bit of a problem. No, it actually has since rotated on down. Instead, Renshiro is going to be inside of Meeting here. Goes for the C4 toss. Oh, you hate to see it when it just sticks to the top of the reinforcement. Muzi is going to be on the other side of this wall, takes the gunfight. It's a freebie for him as Renshiro gets caught looking the other way. Finds himself a second. The upstairs control has now been gained as BDS been quickly shut out of here.
Muzi playing angry, wants to get all the kills and give his team a foot up. But again, Ollie, even though NIP have 2 opening kills, I still am never at ease with them. A 3v5, that usually means BDS will win the round. I'm just never going to sit comfortably in a 3v5 that NIP have. Never.
I think you'd be right to do so, Demo, but that is going to increase to a 5 versus 2 now as Pino finds a great rotation kill there over onto Alems. It's going to be a tough ask here for Bride and Rafal as the 2 remaining players on site. In fact, Bride isn't even on site, sorry. He's at the bottom of Yellow Stairs in Garage. Rafal has been droned inside of Antechamber. NIP still moving very cautiously here, despite this huge advantage, despite all the map control they've been able to get. It's still taking them a good deal of time to execute onto these final 2 players, and I can only think that they're lacking information here. But Psycho, he knows where Rafal is, as he is able to pick up that kill as a nice little headshot. Julio going to be holding the rotation now as well. It's very unlikely for Bride to be able to make his way actually up and impact this at all. He is going to have a chance there at shutting down Kamikaze, but the Evil Eye is going to be destroyed. Pino takes him out there with the shoulder cover. A flawless round there for NIP. That is what we needed to see.
Yep, definitely. BDS not ready for that lob, and I think all of it came down to Muzi. Those first 2 opening picks are so important. And he got them, and from there, BDS just picked away.
That's one of the first times that we've seen them convincingly finish when they've got such a man-count advantage. When they go into that 5 versus 3, it's been dangerous. And I commented at the time at how slow they were moving, and in hindsight, I kind of like it, because no one was unnecessarily swinging and taking 1 versus 1 engagements. That's what we've seen them do previously, is getting themselves into those 1v1, no opportunity for a trade, bish bash bosh, all of a sudden, BDS pick up a couple, and we've gone from 5 versus 3 to like 3 versus 2.
Yeah, I think NIP on the attack have looked a lot more clean compared to their defense. Whenever they have that man advantage with the attacks, they look good. I think the main issue for NIP is if they don't have that opening pick, and then time's against them. Because as soon as they lose one person, NIP all of a sudden have to change their entire dynamic, and they take too long at thinking of a new way to attack without a player. That's the issue that NIP suffered on some of the rounds on Coastline and some of the rounds in Clubhouse.
Are we about to see the NIP resurgence here? BDS still threatening, still 5-3, 2 rounds up at the moment. Good chance for BDS to try and close out here as they're going to be defending Garage. Shaiko maybe looking to get aggressive. He did suffer a bit of damage early on to a spawn peak when he was on the attack, but it's going to be a very soft attempt there at a spawn peak, not wanting to lose his life too easily. Still giving something for NIP to worry about here, as they're going to have roamers to deal with.
Yep, roamers in the form of Bride inside of bathroom. That is usually a suicide hold. There will be one man inside of bathroom there to delay time and get kills, waste a bit of utility as well. Everything that gets thrown at him, he's ready to take it all. And I think against a team like NIP, where we've talked about this whole time management for them, that's a great idea to have. Of course, Shaiko lurking, always going to be a menace that you have to deal with. And even upstairs a little bit more aggressive is going to be Alems. He'll be the first man up to take these engagements to anyone pushing in towards that baguette area. And oh, almost finds the kill, but Alems actually lets him get past. And Pino now drops straight away into Piano.
Pino probably going to look to try and utilize his frag grenades here onto Bride, but Bride again just a really soft hold there. He's going to drop himself off quite quickly. Now there are mute jammers there, so it's going to be difficult to draw that out. I say that, they are going to get destroyed now. Utility still going to be deployed to get control of that bathroom area, but Alems is really the one to be worrying about here as he makes his way onto long desk. Muzi going to maybe catch him on the drone. I'm not sure if Muzi got a glimpse of him there. I don't think that he did. And Alems feels fairly confident that he wasn't droned in that situation. So while there is a flank drone there is going to be nobody actively watching it. Muzi going to instead choose to progress his way down yellow and look to remove some utility.
Great position to do so as well. Can eliminate a Banshee. The Kai charge as well is going to be located on that wall. Also, Kamikaze opens up that breach. And now NIP, they have their staging ground. This is where they can stem their attack. In towards Piano is where Pino will take up that sledge work, which is expected, of course. Being able to clear out in towards White Man is definitely something you need to think about. And they've managed to scare away Shaiko for the meantime. So, NIP, this is looking like your typical attack that you would expect to see every single time. Let's see if they can execute and pull off. Well, Shaiko gets caught out. His foot gets exposed, and Pino will punish him. 30 seconds to go. Kamikaze, gonna try and stick a plant.
Kamikaze looking to try and nail that diffuser down to the floor. Alems is still the unknown factor here as the plant does go down, but Muzi has a sixth sense. He's able to pull away from that yellow stairs hold and take down Alems. It's going to be very difficult here for BDS to try and retake onto this, especially if they all keep swinging Muzi like that as he finds himself a second, gets himself a down over on, Rafal gets the down over onto Pino as he tries to level things back up here, but 4 versus 2 with the plant down in front of White Van. It's going to be super difficult to try and retake this. Rafal, though, try as he might, does take down Julio. Psycho and Muzi come in with those final 2 frags. A big round again for NIP here. They're looking to level us up over on Consulate.
Fantastic attack. Everything by the book. There is nothing that I thought, that's what we don't see all too often. Everything was what we expect on that bomb site. They had the upstairs, they held it back, they had the piano control, they used the sledge, they opened up the breach, and whenever it came time to pushing in, everyone worked together. You had the angles above, you had the utility being dumped in, the diffuser being put down, and as we know, on that bomb site, if that diffuser goes down, the defense have no chance of doing a retake.
Kamikaze, is he going to lock that 6 pick on in? It looks as though he may. Just getting the end of the last round there, you can see how much it means to NIP that they're able to continually keep BDS from that match and series point here. So they've done a good job to level things back from a 5-3 at one time to now 5-2 maybe, Demo, to now a 5-4.
Yeah, 2 rounds in the bounce.
The momentum certainly with NIP here. The 6 pick that I mentioned a little bit earlier as well, Kamikaze had chosen Thermite. Instead, this time, he 6-picked out over onto the Capitao. I worry about this sometimes. When I see LATAM teams picking the Capitao, I do worry a little bit, because usually it means a little bit of speed's about to be injected into the round.
I think if we're dealing with FaZe Clan, then I would agree, but I don't think NIP would be the team to really pick the Capitao for a quick plant rush. I think this is more the case of to help them with the struggle that they had the last time, and that was very little map control. They did not put enough pressure onto these set positions that BDS have. You bring in that Capitao, of course, you're going to get the smoke bombs, which are going to be great for covering off as your diffuser goes in towards meeting, but also the fire arrows, which is the big thing. Whenever we're playing with a Wamai ban that has been banned away by BDS, it means that Capitao does not have a hard counter. The only hard counter that Capitao has is the person controlling it. If he misses the shot, well, that's it. That's on them. But if you have the fire arrows in a great position, you can basically incinerate Shaiko inside a connector and also catch out Brid's cross. We've seen Brid, he tries to cross in towards, from bathroom, in towards long desk. You cut that off with a Sea of Flames, he's not getting through that.
Ooh, the upside down repel being challenged there by Rafal, but I'm not sure if he knows there's 2 players for NIP that are actually going to be out there. Muzi gets himself out of the Toxic Babe gas for now. Maybe just repositioning, but Rafal, no, he's instead going to actually drop on off. Look to maybe make a rotation up yellow. Ooh, opening up the floor as well. Maybe conscious that a plant could come through. Typically, you'd want someone with a C4 below, but he may have to do in this pinch. Julio going to find a kill over onto a Lems. Kamikaze in position now to start smoking off that connector, and I'm sure he's going to be yelling for the plant to come down very shortly. He does have the diffuser. There is an angle being held again from bathroom. It's a common spot that we've seen BDS be able to keep control of, as NIP haven't pushed it when they've attacked onto this top floor. Renshiro below, this time no C4. Why have NIP used the smoke canisters and the asphyxiating bolts and the fire arrows without pushing off the back of it and capitalizing? I feel like there maybe was an opportunity to plant there, but the time once again ticking away as they were a little bit too hesitant on doing so. Instead, it's going to come down to gunfights as a really extreme push comes in from Muzi and Psycho, and they're able to find pretty much all of the frags. Renshiro now left in the 1 versus 5. Again, such a great man disadvantage. A big 1vx for a player on the side of BDS to be dealing with. Kamikaze just comes off the plant momentarily there, and Shiro could find himself a couple of kills here, but he's got information, but can't find the frags. Muzi, flawless round. NIP, they level things up. They take us to 5-5.
NIP have picked up so many flawless rounds throughout the course of this series. They have been extremely strong on their attacks. The thing with NIP, whenever they look bad on their attacks, they look really bad, but whenever they're good in the attacks, boy, are they good. And they are showing that tenfold. You question, why was the Capitao bolt fired in with nobody chasing up? I also thought that, but I seen that nobody was in the position. Kamikaze kind of shot too quick. They weren't ready. Whenever all of NIP were in a position, every single one of them walked in at the same time and completely suffocated everyone in that small area from BDS. It was a well-thought-out plan. It took them a lot of time, but again, they got that first pick. They did not give BDS that early control.
When you're a team that uses every second of your attacking rounds, you get quite good at it. And when you're putting yourself under that much pressure repeatedly and still coming out with a result, your opponents maybe aren't used to being put under that much pressure every single round, and it will start to wear them down. NIP, notorious for slow attacks, notorious for final 15, 10 seconds, whatever it might be. And BDS here seemingly feeling the pinch, you know, not happy, just sitting and waiting, getting caught out, getting caught in rotations. And as you say, the coordination from NIP when the push finally did come through, despite the fact that they'd already used all of their utility, they were still able to get on through and get the kills. And they knew they had to at that point.
NIP have pulled off 3 great attacks, and that has now gifted them an equal split. 5-5 is how the rounds have been distributed. Now let's see how NIP can fare on another attack. Can they make it 4 for 4? Looking at the defense from BDS, they will be going for their mid floor. Pressure in towards the top floor, which is no surprise. Operator choices, again, also no surprise. And Shaiko has went for a jump out. Yes, he has, and he's got away with it as well. Ooh. Never mind, never mind. Pino says, I'm having none of that. You are dead.
That's not often you see a player get back inside and then get taken out by a window right next to it. Pino there avenging his teammate, shutting Shaiko down, and with it, the Goo Mines and Legion. Muzi now going to be able to play himself on the rappel. Julio looking to try and root out the player that is going to be playing upstairs. He has the angle. Well, he doesn't quite have the angle. It looks as though he does.
Would have happened if he was crouched, though.
With our X-ray view, but he's got the drone and he knows that there's going to be a player up there and probably going to work in conjunction with Muzi to try and do something about that. Pino now joining in as well with a beautifully cut grenade. I think it actually may have fallen down the hatch.
Did it maybe go through the holes that was made through the crate? So maybe Julio opening up that angle has maybe costed them a kill. Wow. Would not expect that to happen, but still, Bride is alive. But it has moved him. It's moved him out of that office. Now that gives control to NIP. There is still one more player above that they have to deal with, which I believe will be Renshiro on the mute. Has the SMG in hand. Let's see if he can hit any long-range engagements. Maybe shouldn't have shot that drone. Maybe it could have been a missed drone there for NIP, but still gives himself away. So BDS have very loose control off the top floor, if any control off the top floor. Even a Lem's coming back. Maybe a retake of the top floor. This should be interesting to see BDS pull this one off.
Muzi looks like he's going to be aware, and he is going to find one over onto a Lems. A beautiful flick onto the top of Spiral Stairs. He's now going to free everything up, and Rafal knows he has to push it back down to site along with Renshiro and just defend what they have got left. Muzi pushing himself down these Spiral Stairs now. Renshiro just looking to open up a rotation, but he's going to pay for it with his life as Muzi finds himself a double kamikaze comes in. It's not quite going to be a flawless round, but it's nearly as good as. Rafal has information, going to go for a swing, finds one, can't find the second. Julio comes in, NIP, match and series point.
Wow, NIP, Muzi especially. Ollie, I think before we got into the attack, he had 1 kill. Now he's on 12. 11 kills. In, what's that, 4 rounds? Wow, and important kills at that. The shots he has been hitting, there's a reason whenever me and you talked about NIP before this entire tournament happened, there's a reason why I rate Muzi and Pino so highly, is because they can perform moments like that. Moments that are game-defining. We look back and we will look at the scoreboard and we'll say, yeah, Muzi that game, out of his mind.
That shot onto a Lems at the top of Spiral Stairs, just beautiful flicks, players that are absolutely on the top of their game. And it's not just as much as the killers, then what they're able to do after it, right? You know, they get that control. It just puts such a difficult position in the hands of BDS. NIP on the match point now, they have all the momentum. It's been a game and a series that has ebbed and flowed as to who has had the upper hand. BDS have had flurries inside of this match on Consulate, but they've not looked really in control since Coastline. And now I think they're going to be clutching at straws here.
Brazilian side, you cannot give momentum to. You cannot give the Brazilian teams anything to have passion off. Listening to both of these teams on the stage, if I'm determined who's been the loudest and who's been the most vocal, it has been NIP by a mile. The only person I've really heard from BDS has been a Lems. Everyone in NIP is fired up.
And we can see that in the player cams as well, you know, when at the end of the round, they're screaming, they're really happy that they've been able to bring it back to this point. It's do or die for BDS. This is the round that stands between them and the lower bracket. They've made some adjustments, they've made some changes. Lems is going to be playing Valkyrie, looking to maybe replicate some of Psycho's success on that operator whenever NIP were on the defense. Going to be able to gather a lot of information here. It isn't something that's been brought, but we just heard that camera actually get taken out there. No IQ on the side of NIP, but it doesn't seem like they require one at the moment.
So BDS have a heavy roam game. Trying to see if they can weasel a kill or two, and NIP are happy enough to just sit back and find out the information first of all, and they will do so. Lems has been spotted out, and oh, Julio, that was close. Could have almost pulled the trigger, but probably couldn't have secured the kill. Lems fights once more. Let's see if he can try and show up. Has been the greatest game, someone who me and you have praised quite heavily throughout his tournament so far, but Consulate not really working for him.
There has been a rehost. The stats are a little bit skewed, but Lems hasn't had the same impact here as we saw him have on Coastline, let's say, or maybe even Clubhouse. So more to be found here from BDS. Slowly but surely, NIP gain more and more control. Muzi going to be pushing down yellow stairs now. It seems as though he's got some sort of information. Psycho going to hop on into piano to try and burn out the player that's playing inside of bathroom. Is it something that NIP like to do, even though there's going to be nobody actually playing on in there? They still like to use the Hibana pellets onto that wall to gain a better angle through the hatch.
So, NIP, you have what you want, which is that upstairs control. And now for BDS, how are they going to try and withstand this? One thing that I think has been different is it's still an even man count. It's still 5 versus 5, so BDS haven't really gave NIP anything to go off. And oh, Shaiko, what a push. Knows that the Ashe is going to try and target the Banshees, and whenever that gets fired out, Ashe is going to be in a state where she cannot pull out the weapon, and Shaiko has the punishment ready. A great opening pick for BDS, and that could be detrimental to NIP.
It's going to be the lack of a gun and the lack of ability to destroy any more of those Banshees. Shaiko now has retreated to Pipes area. He's going to try and hold on through the hatch. He's got a chance at a bit of an engagement here as shots do are exchanged, but no, instead going to swing over onto Psycho. E1D going to come out, but it's going to be a bit too little too late as the advantage is firmly with BDS. Now Pino goes for a desperate drop, but that's all it will ever be. Shaiko is on a triple kill. He's stepping up here when his team need it. BDS going to be playing tight to the breach, probably going to find himself one here. Kamikaze gets one as a trade. Alems picks up two. The Shaiko and the Alems show. It keeps NIP off a match point, and it takes us to an overtime.
Shaiko backed into a corner, and he keeps on fighting back. BDS take us to overtime. This is the first overtime as well we had. We didn't see it in Coastline, didn't see it in Clubhouse, even though it might have felt like it, Ollie, but overtime definitely here in Consulate.
I'm not sure where we're at with timeouts for teams. I don't believe that either team has taken one just as of yet, so I would expect them to be using that pretty soon. Get a bit of a flash of the scoreboard as well, as we can see that it's going to be Muzi leading the charge here, but that round was all about Shaiko.
It was, yeah.
We've asked for him to step up in previous fixtures, in previous games, hell, even inside of this game, and he did just exactly that. 3 kills from Yellow Stairs, pretty much unchallenged right up until the bitter end, and Alems just doing what's necessary. It doesn't always take flashy plays in Siege. Sometimes playing at a right angle to a breach can be enough.
Yep, flashy plays, these young guns, it's not everything. I look back to a team like G2, whenever, not this G2, but the old G2 lineup. You look at those players, were there ever any flashy kills that, really set them apart? Was it their gun skill? No. It was how they played as a team. It was how their strategies were set up. They didn't have the best gun skill in the league, but they had the best teamwork, and that's what set them apart to every other team in that time.
We had the hybrid of it in that round, didn't we? We had Shaiko flashy on Yellow Stairs, and then Alems just playing to the right angle of a breach and being you can't challenge me. It's a hard right angle, and you've got an entire site in front of you. There's no way you are coming in pre-firing right.
So NIP get the attacking half, and so far in Consulate has been attacker favored. Will this help them? Definitely, but they need to win this round. They need to win this round, because if BDS goes 7-6 and then they get an attack, ooh, scary times for NIP. So, BDS on that basement once more. This roam game, again set up, which is really no surprise to me whatsoever. NIP very quickly into that Yellow Stairs to establish their upstairs control. This is where everything kind of stems from them. NIP haven't been very dominant in terms of taking the entire map. They kind of take half of it. It's as if they've cut the entire map in half. They take that. You can have the other BDS. We don't need that.
It's probably the best time for NIP to be attacking this site because they've just seen it, so they can make that quick adjustment and adaptation as to what's required. Now, obviously, they weren't to know that this is where BDS are going to go, but you can guess that it is going to be. Now, the floor is going to get opened, and Alems will escape. There was information on him there, but Manchiro has got a C4 prepped from below. He's looking to get it through the door into Piano, leading through into Soda. Those vertical C4s, you don't always have to just throw them on the floor. You can throw them through the floor if you are able to get it so that it doesn't stick onto anything along the way. Alems seeing some pressure here on Circle Desk because he's going to lose a little bit of his health. Pino above, maybe looking to try and capitalize, but just can't get the angle. Instead, it's going to be Shaiko, as he was unchallenged inside of admin. He's able to take down Muzi, who's been a big fragger on the side of NIP.
C4 as well, pre-placed on the wall. Don't know if that is potential rotate. I assume so. But Shaiko still finds that opening pick. And one thing that we've talked about NIP is if they do not have the opening pick on the attack, they look like a much weakened version of themselves. And losing Muzi, who has been that big, massive attacker for them, yeah, Muzi out of the picture early on, it's going to spell doom for NIP this round.
We can see that BDS have managed to make a full rotation back down into the site of Lems and Shaiko. They've wasted enough of the round now. There's only 35 seconds left. It's time to take up those powerful positions. BDS has made his way over into bathroom. Not sure quite how he's managed this. He's going to get a chance at one, but is beaten to the punch by Shaiko. Will instead take a kill over onto Psycho. There's 2 kills going in favor of BDS before anything is responded to. Really isn't the position that NIP want to be in now with 15 seconds to go. Julio laid prone. He has the breach to go off, but is really unable to find anybody. Nobody on the side of BDS wanting to peak this. They want to guarantee this first round of overtime here. Toxic Babe canisters come out, and that's all we need. The curtain has been drawn on this round, and BDS are going to take it. They take the lead here in OT.
Massive round, an attacker-sided Consulate at the moment, and they have broken NIP on their 2 attacks. Now BDS, they get the attack inside. NIP up against it.
Yeah, NIP need to find something here because they've attacked Garage downstairs now twice, 2 consecutive rounds, struggled both times. We're seeing some changes come in the lineup here. Whether they will be stuck or not throughout the 6th pick, we will have to see. But for the time being, we have replays of the last round to be going off, and we can see just how dominant Shaiko was once again from that yellow stairs area. He got shut down a little bit sooner than he did last time, but still BDS able to hold fast there, waste a ton of time on the roam. We've said it multiple times, if you want to win rounds here against NIP and they're attacking, just get a couple of people out on the roam and get back to site safe.
The first pick. That's it. You get that first kill, NIP just stop in their tracks. It's if NIP have the first pick, then they are extremely deadly. Right, 7-6. Here we go. Still, match point. BDS for the series need 1 clean attack, and that will be it. NIP need to pull it back. They need to have a defense. It needs to be a strong one. Let's see how it pans out. Ollie. Let's see.
Doesn't even have to be a clean attack, it just has to be a round win. It can be as messy as they like, but they just need to try and get it over the line here. We've seen this site defended a couple of times so far from NIP, and for the most part, they've seen good success here. Part of that success has been down to Pino. We've got to be honest, these Valkyrie cameras have been very strong indeed. Opting not for a palm tree this time, doesn't want to go too predictable, just going to throw it out and let it land on the ground. But he's been able to gather so much intel and regularly comes out with either a bit of aggression early, jumping out of a window and just using the MPX, or tossing a C4 out of a window and being able to gain a frag that way. Either way, NIP have always got a good idea of 2 things. 1, where the push is coming from, and B, where that opening pick should be coming from, because they usually get it here on the defense.
So NIP, again, not much control on yellow. Severe lack of control. Perhaps because they're not bringing the Jaeger, they're a little bit scared, which I think I would be as well if I was in that position without any real coverage of ADSs to catch the grenades that I'm sure would probably fire in. Yeah, it's probably a good idea to stay away from that. Have this clash again. Kamikaze, I don't think has seen great things from the clash. I think there was that 1 round where he was able to back off and then get that kill inside a connect, which was pretty important, but whenever we see BDS see a clash, they immediately target that with everything they've got. They rotate the Sophia around Renshiro, again, that kind of hype man for Shaiko on this bomb site attack, and just try and pick off that clash early on.
Ooh, a gifted opportunity for Psycho as he takes down Rafal. Shaiko will fall as well as Muzi joins on in. And the player on Yellow Stairs Repel decides to dip out. Renshiro looking for a refrag but doesn't want to overcommit to it. The angle held by Psycho was a little bit unpredictable there. No information for Rafal in that instance. Now, that's the real power of the Mute Mozzie combination here. You can look at how many drones BDS have got left. They've got 1 drone in pocket left.
Lambs pushing his way up towards yellow. Let's see if he can make it happen again. That yellow control is very loose, but here comes the clash, and Kamikaze is there to greet him. He gets eliminated at Julio with a shotgun inside of office. He's been allowed to wander about the bomb site, and it has costed him Psycho as well. A 1 versus 5, no chance for BDS. NIP push it all the way. Another flawless round for NIP. How many times have we said that?
Who needs a Jaeger or a Wamai to hold yellow stairs? That is the biggest takeaway from that round that I can muster, because there is no way on earth that NIP should be allowed to hold yellow stairs in that fashion without a single ADS or a single magnet, not even a laser gate. There was nothing stopping throwables coming in there. BDS have missed out enormously on that. They've lost every single gunfight. And guess what? Those gunfights where you've got the high ground, they're the ones you shouldn't be losing. They're the easy gunfights. All you should be able to see is the guy's head. They have got to go through your entire body. You know, it's difficult to get headshots onto those gunfights. Unforgivable stuff from BDS. They've played exactly into the hands of NIP there, and NIP have just gone, yep, no worries. We will hold yellow stairs, no Jaeger, no problem.
Both teams breaking each other on the attacks, which is a little bit surprising for an attacker-sided Consulate to see then 2 attacks be lost. Yeah, did not expect to see this. Now we have NIP on the attack, BDS on the defense. Keep in mind, Ollie, as well, that this is going to have to be an upstairs as well. It's not going to be the base. It's going to be locked out. BDS have to go for this. The last time we seen NIP up here, they sweeped them. They walked in, they kicked them, they kicked the chair right underneath them, and that was the round.
A couple of things are different. They did have the Capitale last round. This time, NIP haven't brought the Capitale instead. They've doubled down on the grenades. Julio's gone for Iana. Another main difference, and something that BDS have done as maybe a little bit of a response and an adaptation, is they brought the mirror, and we saw the mirror window played inside of admin there, looking to try and keep control of admin. That's going to be a Lems. Inside of this little box area, he's able to keep a good idea of what's coming in from that side. Yeah. NIP need to make a decision now, and it's all down to the info that they've gathered in the first part of the round. Have they got sufficient utility to push on through that mirror window, or instead are they just going to try and take yellow stairs? With the way they're framing up, Demo, I'd say the latter.
Yeah, definitely yellow stairs side from NIP. One interesting thing as well to actually take note of BDS and their setup, they fully reinforced bathroom walls, so they don't actually give anyone any kind of control. Look at, oh my word. A mirror window downstairs in bathroom to cover the bottom of yellow stairs. Wow.
I've seen this mirror a few times, and it still baffles me. I still enjoy seeing it. I still like to know what teams are going to do with it. I've not seen it used to its full potential, I don't believe. Now, maybe we're going to see it come to fruition inside of this round. C4's always an option as well, but Alems is looking to commit down here. He's looking to play inside of Piano. Not sure if anybody knows he is there as of yet. Newsy seems to have an inkling as he's going to get shot at least through the floor. Doesn't deal all too much damage to him. Psycho conscious of the run out there as well. It's a tentative start, but Psycho going to open things up. Finds a kill over onto Rafal. The smoke gone is going to make planting that diffuser a heck of a lot easier.
That is the kill that NIP need. That first opening pick. Whenever we see them get the opening pick on attack, they do not lose the rounds. Could this be different though? Shaiko challenging on towards connector window. Julio reloads the weapon, perhaps another peek. Pino finds Shaiko, and all of a sudden BDS are crumbling at the seams. Renshiro tries his hand at a run out. He gets eliminated. Alems as well. He's all by himself, a 1 versus 3. He's downstairs, fighting back as much as he can, but no! NIP Psycho finishes him off. What a hard-fought victory for NIP. Besting BDS, the clear favorites in this matchup. Brazil stands tall against France.
You can probably hear them in the background there. The guys are going mental. Very happy with that win there over BDS. A close-fought